Cross encountered 3 mysterious women while traveling through the mountains. They claimed they were masters searching for someone to nurture and train. Suspicious of them, Cross listened carefully. Believing the women were ordinary adventurers, Cross proudly boasted about himself. Before he could continue, one of the women moved instantly and demonstrated overwhelming strength. Rion Burnage struck with a single punch, creating a massive shockwave. Sir Boyden Portu Ponjovina was defeated immediately. Witnesses stared in disbelief at the terrifying display. The women revealed their identities. Lyudmila Hailstorm was a legendary archwizard, while Rion Burnage was a feared dragon warrior. Cross finally realized their extraordinary status. Telemia Kleeblatt joined them as the third master. After failing to find worthy men, the 3 strongest women decided Cross would become their student. Cross learned more about the 3 masters. Lyudmila could defeat armies with magic, while Rion possessed enough strength to shatter mountains with her fists. Telemia Kleeblatt completed the legendary trio. Her forbidden reverse recovery magic made her feared across the world, earning countless victories against powerful enemies. People described the 3 women as living disasters. Individually, they could destroy nations. Together, their combined presence inspired fear, comparable to divine punishment. Despite possessing unmatched power, fame, and influence, the 3 masters lacked something important. Their overwhelming strength frightened nearly every man they encountered. After hearing their situation, a defeated knight questioned their search for a disciple. The women reacted awkwardly, realizing their greatest problem remained unsolved. The knight revealed the truth behind the problem. Despite their beauty and power, the 3 masters could not find suitable partners. The realization embarrassed them greatly. Months earlier, the women had searched for worthy men. Every candidate disappointed them. Most lacked skill, ambition, or character, making them unfit companions. Lyudmila admitted her standards were extremely high. Any potential partner would need strength equal to or greater than her own overwhelming magical abilities. Telemia also refused to lower her expectations. The 3 masters argued over ideals, yet none could find anyone matching their personal requirements. While discussing their situation, a new idea suddenly emerged. Instead of searching endlessly for an ideal man, they could raise one themselves. The 3 masters agreed on their new strategy. Rather than searching endlessly, they would find a promising youth, train him carefully, and shape his future. With their decision made, the search officially began. The women traveled across many lands, hoping to discover a disciple with exceptional potential. Months passed without success. While resting in a distant city, Lyudmila, Rion, and Telemia discussed their failed attempts to find candidates. The conversation shifted toward possible locations. Rion suggested places filled with warriors, while the others debated where talented young fighters might appear. Nearby, 2 people discussed news from Basque Rubia. They mentioned a school where the descendant of the legendary brave would soon enroll. The masters discovered a tradition at the adventurers' school. Seeking a strong companion might also produce future children. They realized this could serve multiple purposes. Rion decided to take action. They would target the descendant of the brave, either recruiting him directly or capturing a rival student for training purposes. The 3 women agreed to visit the school. They prepared for the journey, eager to evaluate candidates and find a promising young disciple to raise. Arriving near Basque Rubia, they observed the fortified city. Smoke and activity indicated ongoing adventures and challenges, perfect for identifying potential trainees with skill and courage. Basque Rubia was described as sacred for adventurers, hosting the world's largest magical well and prestigious adventurer school. The women anticipated finding the descendant of the brave here. The 3 masters entered Basque Rubia during a lively festival. Streets were crowded with adventurers and visitors, creating the perfect atmosphere for their search. While exploring the city, they learned that the Royal Adventurers School was holding an important proficiency ceremony. Many talented students had gathered there. At the school, unusual sounds and destruction suddenly drew attention. The commotion suggested that something unexpected was happening inside the prestigious institution. Dean Celeria, Kut Kuja, received reports about troublesome visitors. Hearing the description, she immediately suspected the infamous trio had arrived at the school. The dean's subordinates confirmed her fears. Lyudmila, Rion, and Telemia were already relaxing in her office, causing panic throughout the administration building. The trio impatiently waited inside the dean's office. Rion issued threats through a messenger, demanding attention while the school staff struggled to respond. After hearing the report, Dean Celeria reluctantly accepted reality. She prepared herself mentally before agreeing to meet the troublesome visitors personally. As Celeria hurried toward her office, she dealt with another issue. A student was being expelled, but the emergency forced her to postpone explanations. Approaching the office doors, Celeria desperately hoped the reports were exaggerated. She wished the 3 legendary women had already left the school. Opening the door shattered that hope. Ludmilla, Rion, and Telemia were comfortably relaxing inside, having already consumed most of the refreshments provided. Dean Celeria finally confronted the 3 masters. Exhausted and frustrated, she questioned their sudden visit while they casually reminded her of past cooperation. Celeria complained that dealing with the trio often created more problems than solutions. Despite her irritation, she reluctantly asked what they wanted. Rion immediately stated their first request. The 3 masters wanted access to the descendant of the brave, leaving Celeria completely stunned. Lyudmila explained their intention. They hoped to evaluate promising students and possibly train one themselves if the candidate showed exceptional potential and growth. Telemea insisted their motives were harmless. Celeria remained unconvinced, certain the 3 masters were hiding their true reasons behind friendly explanations. Celeria carefully analyzed the situation. She suspected the 3 masters were hiding selfish motives, believing their personalities made them far more dangerous than usual. The dean imagined disastrous consequences if the trio gained access to the Brave's descendant. Convinced catastrophe would follow, she refused to cooperate immediately, while Celeria remained silent. The masters casually discussed possible ways to pressure her. Their conversation only strengthened the dean's growing concerns. A sudden explosion echoed across the city outside the office window. Everyone immediately stopped talking and turned toward the source of the disturbance. The group stared at the distant eruption rising above Basque Rubia. Confusion replaced their argument as they tried to understand what had happened. Basque Rubia erupted into chaos as a massive disturbance shook the city. Students and citizens alike ran in panic, unsure of what was happening. The disturbance intensified, revealing an enormous entity rising above the city. Citizens and students stared in terror at the colossal figure approaching. The creature's sheer size and presence caused mass destruction. Smoke and debris filled the streets as onlookers struggled to comprehend the threat. The monstrosity, a poison slime hydra, loomed over the city. Its immense body and multiple appendages created a terrifying sight, overwhelming everyone in its path. Dean Celeria immediately recognized the threat. She realized a high-level, A-class adventurer party would be required to confront the Danger Class 8 monster. The trio quickly assessed the monster. Realizing its true threat level exceeded expectations, Rion worried it would eliminate every promising candidate in the city. Without hesitation, Rion launched herself toward the poison slime hydra. The other masters followed, determined to stop the disaster before casualties increased. Watching from afar, Celeria was unimpressed by Rion's reasoning. Her concern for future husband candidates made the rescue effort seem strangely personal. As the hydra advanced, Lyudmila prepared powerful ice magic. Citizens fled through collapsing streets while the enormous creature continued spreading destruction across Basque Rubia. Lyudmila unleashed Absolute Zero. A massive wave of freezing energy erupted outward, instantly engulfing the battlefield and halting the monster's advance. Rion charged straight toward the poison slime hydra, after Ludmila's ice attack slowed its movements. Telemia supported from behind while the enormous monster continued resisting their assault. The hydra retaliated with tremendous force. A violent impact shook the surrounding district, damaging buildings and sending debris flying across nearby streets and structures. Several civilians and students were thrown through the air by the shockwave. Panic spread quickly as people struggled to escape the collapsing area. Lyudmila analyzed the situation and discovered the hydra's core remained unaffected. Despite repeated attacks, the monster regenerated rapidly and resisted her strongest freezing techniques. The 3 masters adjusted their strategy. Lyudmila and Telemia warned Rion about the hydra's deadly poison while preparing a coordinated attack against its hidden core. Rion and Lyudmila confront the massive poison slime hydra emerging in the city, its enormous form threatening the buildings and civilians below. The hydra crashes into the streets, causing chaos and destruction. Citizens scatter as debris falls around them, while the adventurers prepare their attacks. Chaos spreads as people are thrown into the air and rubble litters the streets. The hydra's regenerative abilities prevent simple attacks from stopping it. Lyudmila attempts to freeze the hydra, but its magical resilience resists her spells. Rion and Telemir work together to target critical areas carefully. The adventurers coordinate using precise strategies to avoid harming civilians, preparing for a combined magical assault. Rion releases her full vexing skills, trapping the hydra in a deadly magical formation. Telemia joined the battle and tested her abilities against the poison slime hydra. The combined attacks of the 3 masters finally began slowing the monster. Their strategy started producing results. The hydra's body showed visible damage as Lyudmila and Rion continued applying pressure from different directions. Meanwhile, Dean Celeria monitored the situation. She believed the trio could eventually defeat the Hydra, but protecting the city remained her priority. A messenger suddenly arrived with alarming news. A massive monster stampede had been detected approaching Basque Rubia from the abyssal sea of trees, far beyond the city walls. Thousands of monsters charged forward together. The enormous horde threatened to overwhelm Basque Rubia, while the strongest warriors were occupied fighting the Hydra. Ludmilla, Rion and Telomir confronted a massive Hydra wreaking havoc across the city. The three heroes coordinated their efforts carefully. Lyudmila cast ice spells to slow the Hydra, Rion maneuvered to strike its body, and Telomir, despite their combined efforts. The Hydra's core remained resilient, and the monster's regenerative abilities made it difficult to subdue. Lyudmila and Rion unleashed a sequence of coordinated magical attacks. They exploited weaknesses and carefully avoided the Hydra's venomous appendages, gradually suppressing its movements while keeping the city's inhabitants safe. Observing the chaos, the Dean realized the situation required broader action. Rion, Lyudmila, and Telomir confronted the massive Hydra rampaging through the city. Explosions and debris filled the streets while civilians scattered in panic, uncertain of survival. The trio coordinated their attack, analyzing the Hydra's magical resistance. Rion's magic froze parts of its body while Telomir and Lyudmila attempted precise attacks, testing its weaknesses carefully. Despite their combined efforts, the Hydra's rapid recovery forced them to retreat briefly. They calculated risks, aiming for the creature's core, while avoiding unnecessary damage to surrounding buildings. The team prepared a coordinated maneuver. Rion used vexing skills in a massive circle while Telomir targeted the core. Lyudmila unleashed a powerful elemental spell. The Hydra faltered under their relentless strategic attacks. The magical effects lowered its status, slowing recovery. The adventurers pressed forward, combining magic and strength to protect the city and civilians. The Hydra suddenly unleashed a powerful roar from its exposed core. The shockwave spread across the battlefield, causing adventurers and civilians alike to freeze in fear and confusion. As panic spread through the streets, Lyudmila focused on the situation. She understood that fear would cause more casualties than the monster itself. Without hesitation, Lyudmila rushed forward through the damaged city. She assessed the battlefield and decided to finish the fight herself. Her confidence steadied nearby civilians as she advanced toward the roaring monster. The Hydra continued attacking, smashing buildings with its massive body. Lyudmila arrived near the creature, while frightened residents searched for safety. Drawing both swords, Lyudmila accelerated toward the Hydra. She activated a special combat skill and prepared a decisive strike. The brave rushed toward the Hydra and unleashed a powerful sword technique called boundless slashes of dust. Countless strikes cut through the battlefield, forcing the monster's tendrils back. Before the attack could finish the battle, several tendrils suddenly wrapped around the brave. The Hydra restrained her in midair and prevented further movement. Rickon, Lyudmila, and Telomir stared in disbelief at the captured warrior. They finally realized the legendary brave they had been discussing. The brave struggled desperately against the Hydra's grip. Her body remained suspended above the city while the monster tightened its hold. The adventurers quickly analyzed the situation. They recognized the brave's extraordinary strength, equipment, and royal insignia. Despite her young age, her abilities were undeniable. The massive vexing spell suddenly weakened everyone on the battlefield. Rion and Lyudmila felt their strength disappear, while the Hydra recovered from the pressure they had built. Telomir realized the situation was becoming desperate, with the adventurers weakened and while the others searched for solutions. A young boy unexpectedly charged straight toward the Hydra's exposed core. Rion activated a status appraisal and examined the reckless newcomer. The results shocked her completely. The boy continued advancing despite possessing completely zero status points. Telomir, Rion, and the others stared in disbelief.
Cross's stats were all zero. No power, no skills, just a helpless 14-year-old boy. Despite this, the female masters saw hope. They commanded allies to guard Cross with urgency. Knowing the Hydra's core was exposed, Cross ran forward. This was their only safe chance. Massive tentacles burst out. Cross evaded instinctively, steel drawn, bracing for the creature's next deadly strike. Flung high by a sudden impact, Cross locked eyes on the glowing Hydra's vulnerable heart. Cross braced himself as the Hydra's core launched a powerful beam straight toward him. Watching closely, the masters held their breath, silently trusting Cross's instincts to guide his action. Tentacles flailed wildly. Cross staggered forward, gasping. The Hydra screamed, disrupting everything around the battlefield. Suddenly surrounded, Cross stood frozen. The core split, aiming blasts directly at his trembling figure. One master struggled to rise. Injured but determined, she whispered, "Must help him, no matter what." Cross stood, worn and shaken. Tentacles writhed nearby. The enemy's core floated just ahead. He gritted his teeth. This strange orb must be the final core, its destruction essential. A fellow student jumped in recklessly, shielding Cross. Tentacles lashed as both prepared to strike. With one swing, Cross connected. The core cracked loudly. Power burst in every direction instantly. The Hydra screamed violently, its massive body collapsing. The core shattered. Silence swallowed the battlefield. Though the Hydra crumbled, a final tentacle lashed out, snaring one of the instructors tightly. The three master warriors soared in. They aimed to rescue her before the last collapse. A colossal surge of crystal exploded skyward. The Hydra's body disintegrated into shards over town. Cross and the others landed safely. The instructors arrived exhausted. All eyes scanned for injuries. "Telomea, recovery magic now," one shouted. Cross collapsed. But hope remained. The battle was won together. Cross lay barely conscious. Frozen slime covered his chest, but the poison hadn't spread internally. He whispered weakly, asking if the hero was safe. The masters rushed to reassure him. One swordswoman stood in silence, distant from the group, holding guilt for her earlier failure. Cross smiled faintly, relieved he survived. The others surrounded him, unsure what came next from here. She knelt with regret. "I'm sorry," she murmured. "If I wasn't careless, this wouldn't happen." The warriors knelt beside Cross. He had risked everything, not even as the hero's ally. One mentor quietly praised his courage. Reckless or not, Cross had earned their genuine respect. Another woman smiled, puzzled. Of all students, why had she suddenly wished to teach him? Cross lay unconscious, breathing lightly. Around him, the ruins whispered of hardship and hard-won peace. Looking down at him, the mentor smiled. "Found you," she said. "The real journey begins." Far from the city, sunrise broke. Calm returned. The battle's aftermath scattered across the land. Deep beneath the surface, bubbles rose. A strange presence stirred silently in the dark waters. Faint voices echoed. Cross hovered between sleep and waking, lost in heavy dreams and fading thoughts. His eyes opened. He lay in bed, confused. Pain faded, but questions now remained. A girl sat nearby. She smiled calmly. Cross had survived. But everything had changed forever. Cross awoke, startled. The Dragonian girl, Rion, sat beside him. She had been waiting. Rion smiled and reassured him, saying the city was fine despite the destruction from the battle. She handed him her status plate. Cross froze in shock, seeing her rank as S-class adventurer. He stammered, asking what someone so powerful wanted with someone like him. She laughed gently. Rion explained they were in Basque Rubia, a safe haven after the church overflowed with injured. Rion smiled at Cross, comforting him. She reassured him that his actions mattered, despite the odds. Cross hesitated, but his emotions overwhelmed him. He couldn't believe that someone like Rione cared. Embarrassed, Cross buried his face in his hands, mumbling about how it was only desperation. Rion's words, however, brought a spark of pride within him. His actions had been meaningful. Despite feeling overwhelmed, Cross felt gratitude for Rion's encouragement. His journey was just beginning. Rion, with a smile, offers Cross to become her apprentice. Curious about his sudden status changes, Cross, shocked, is confused by her offer as he remembers his past failures at school. She explains that she's an S-class adventurer, revealing her Dragonian status and prowess in battle. Cross feels embarrassed and doubts whether he could ever live up to Rion's offer and expectations. Despite his self-doubt, Rion reassures him and teases him, further complicating his emotions about being an apprentice. Telomea Creeblood and Ludmila Hailstorm eagerly approach Cross, inviting him to be their apprentice. Ludmila interrupts Telomea's offer, claiming she'll teach Cross, leading to a fiery argument over control. Ludmila intensifies her anger, threatening to burn Telomea, while Cross is terrified by their rivalry. A powerful earthquake erupts, signaling a massive disaster that could surpass the legendary Hydra threat. In the midst of chaos, Cross suggests becoming their disciple, offering a solution to the conflict. Telomea, Ludmila, and Cross contemplate raising the ideal man, agreeing that the last one wins. The three masters decide that Cross will be their apprentice, despite his nervousness and uncertainty. Cross, still in disbelief, struggles to process the fact that he's now their apprentice. Introducing himself proudly, Cross announces he's a 14-year-old human with no class, feeling embarrassed. Cross humbly accepts his fate, vowing to do his best, even though his talents are unknown. Cross reflects on his journey, remembering how he was expelled from adventurer school before joining Masters. Excited, Cross sets off for his training, unaware of the intense rivalry between the Masters. Cross is in awe of the grand mansion, but his nervousness over the situation grows. Cross learns his masters convinced others to buy the mansion, impressed by their financial power. After some playful banter, Telemea and Lidmila argue over who will train Cross first. Lidmila jokes about using a secret draconian technique to boost Cross's growth if needed. Telemea suggests using a powerful dark artifact, the Dark Chalice, to speed up Cross's growth. The trio finally agrees on starting Cross's training, with Cross unsure if they're serious or joking. Cross, now in training, struggles with Lidmila's fast pace, leading to an intense sword practice. Lidmila notices Cross's swordsmanship issues, realizing he had been bullied in the past for weakness. Lidmila realizes Cross's hesitation stems from past trauma, his mind weakened by constant verbal bullying. Lidmila points out Cross's fear of counterattacks, a habit that has crippled his swordsmanship. Cross recalls being mocked by classmates, feeling weak at 14, unable to even beat a girl. An official notice reveals Cross's status as jobless, marking him as the weakest among adventurers. Cross, now in the arena, faces a massive crowd who marvels at his lack of growth. Cross pleads not to be expelled as the dean urges him to consider other career options. Cross, deep in thought, recalls how Ms. Dean discouraged him from becoming an adventurer. Lidmila acknowledges Cross's slow progress but reassures him that he has a solid foundation to build on. Lidmila tosses Cross a sword, emphasizing that to succeed, he must enjoy fighting, not fear it. Cross starts to embrace the idea of enjoying battles, realizing it might help him grow stronger. Lidmila challenges Cross to attack her with full force, pushing him to take his training seriously. Cross hesitates, worried about hurting her, but Lidmila encourages him to face his fear. As Cross trains, Lidmila humorously critiques his kindness, but his efforts are slowly improving. Telemea playfully asks Cross to take a shot at her, but is distracted by other preparations. Suddenly, Lidmila's earth magic edgestone erupts violently, shocking everyone with her immense power. Cross, in a panic, swings his sword at Lidmila, terrified of causing destruction, but she remains unfazed. Cross, shocked by the chaotic aftermath of his swing, worries about his lack of control. Lidmila, confidently smiling, reassures Cross that she won't be hurt and encourages him to keep attacking. Cross, overwhelmed, is horrified by Telemea's playful appearance, realizing he has no control over his actions. Lidmila laughs, showing Cross that his hesitation stems from worry, but assures him once trained, he'll succeed. Cross follows Lidmila's instruction, striking her with full force, now focused on his killer intent. Cross shouts in frustration, reacting to Rion's teasing, but grows more confident in his attack. Lidmila observes Cross's improvement, encouraging him to keep going, emphasizing that the attacks should be relentless. Lidmila and Telemea discuss the importance of training without being too harsh, ensuring proper recovery. After a tiring day of training, Cross enjoys a peaceful bath, grateful for the comforts provided. Cross stares in shock at the feast laid before him, Lidmila insisting he eat well for training. Telemea encourages Cross to eat more, suggesting that food will improve his strength despite his thin plate. Cross, overwhelmed by the meal, devours the food with enthusiasm, relieved by its deliciousness. Lidmila prepares to begin her lesson with Cross, ensuring he's rested after his massive meal. Cross is startled as Lidmila orders him to strip and lie face down, unsure of her intentions. Cross is confused and startled, not understanding why Lyudmila insists on this unusual training method. Lyudmila, confident in her approach, reassures Cross, though he remains embarrassed by the situation. As Lyudmila applies lotion, she explains how the massage helps recover stamina and enhances magic. Cross feels the unfamiliar sensation of magic coursing through him as Lyudmila explains the technique. Lyudmila teasingly mentions the importance of physical contact to awaken love, leaving Cross flustered. Cross, stunned by Lyudmila's request, heads to bed, trying to focus on tomorrow's task. Cross sleeps in his lavish room, alone, unaware of what awaits him the following day. Cross wakes up confused, wondering if Lyudmila's advice to rest early has anything to do with it. Cross is startled by a surprising visit from Telemea, who rewards his hard work with affection. Telemea explains the necessity of her actions, claiming that this interaction is crucial to his growth. Cross, exhausted, wonders if Lyudmila's methods are actually enhancing his magic, even while he's relaxed. Lyudmila explains her intentions to Telemea, who reacts with anger, questioning her unconventional actions and methods. Rion's surprise attack interrupts the situation, sparking an argument over proper relationships and their boundaries. Cross lies confused and overwhelmed, doubting whether his carefree training is the right path to follow. The situation escalates as Cross faces unexpected challenges, while new characters introduce tougher aspects of training. Rion and Lyudmila discuss the importance of tailored training methods, dismissing common misunderstandings about harsh teaching. Cross, now focused, is encouraged to take his time and build his strength slowly but surely. After 3 days of intense training, Cross starts to feel the rhythm and progress of his work. Cross faces Lyudmila in a training duel, pushing his skills to the limit in combat. Cross feels lighter and more agile, realizing the improvements in his body from the rigorous training. Cross begins to realize the sensation of using magic while holding his sword, starting to understand. In their duel, Cross attempts to use magic while swinging his sword, showing growth. Lyudmila asks Cross to show his status plate as they continue to track his progress. Cross looks at his status plate, revealing his beginner stats, still showing room for improvement. Cross discovers he has gained a skill, and the group is excited about his progress. Lyudmila praises Cross for successfully learning his first skill, Clear Cut, a magic-enhanced sword technique. Rion and Telomea discuss the unique abilities Cross possesses due to his jobless class compensation skills. The group reflects on Cross's progress, noting that even with compensation skills, his growth is tough. Cross is thrilled, noticing the vast improvements in his strength, speed, and skill from training. Lyudmila acknowledges Cross's rapid progress and mentions his achievement of gaining 4 skills in a short time. Lyudmila affectionately pats Cross on the head, complimenting his progress, while Cross nervously accepts the praise. Cross remains speechless, overwhelmed by the praise and pressure, unsure of how to respond. Lyudmila explains Cross's compensation skills will improve with battle experience, stressing the importance of real combat. Cross hesitates, feeling unprepared for an actual fight, especially against something as strong as a horned rabbit. Rion reassures Cross, encouraging him to gain confidence through real battles. He's still at level 1. Lyudmila returns, announcing the discovery of a powerful monster near the abyssal sea of trees. Cross is horrified as he recognizes the snake-eyed creature, a Risk 1 monster he fears facing. Overwhelmed, faces the monster, as Lyudmila reassures him that he should be able to handle it. Cross faces terrifying multi-eyed snake monster, unsure if he can defeat it as his mentor watches. Cross feels his consciousness fading, overwhelmed by the creature's eyes and overwhelming force. He's confused. The snake wraps around him, squeezing tightly. Cross screams in pain, struggling to escape its grip. Terrified, Cross asks for help. His mentor warns about the snake's eyes, a deadly weapon. Cross realizes the snake's eyes control it. Summoning all his strength, he prepares for a counterattack. Cross struggles against the snake's speed, realizing its attacks are faster than his ability to react. Determined, Cross acknowledges his current skills are inadequate but vows to find a way to fight back. He prepares to counterattack, focusing on the snake's movements and positioning himself for a decisive strike. Cross concentrates, executing well-timed move while the snake's deadly eyes rotate around him, preparing for action. With a powerful slash, Cross cuts through the snake's coils, breaking free with a victorious shout. The snake's head is severed cleanly, its body torn apart by Cross's powerful, decisive strike. Cross's victory is celebrated. His mentors cheer him on, impressed by his progress and growth. Cross questions whether he really accomplished it. His mentor explains how he defeated a challenging opponent. Cross reflects on his growth, seeing his newly acquired skills on his status plate with pride. After the battle, Cross enjoys a celebratory moment, though his mentor teases him about his excitement. Cross is given medicinal wine by his mentor, claiming it will help enhance his magical abilities. Cross practices his clear-cut technique, learning to focus on the connection between magic and movement. The group discusses Cross's improvement, noting his increased self-confidence since defeating the snake monster in battle. They mention Giselle, an impressive orphan with incredible talents, and the ruinous warrior apprentice class. Cross's potential is acknowledged, with hopes for his future as an A-rank adventurer. Despite past bullying, Cross is encouraged to push his limits without worrying about running out of magic. He is ready. Cross and his mentor engage in a sparring session, his technique improving as they train together. Cross is shown growing in confidence, with his mentors observing his progress, recognizing his potential. Cross checks his status plate, amazed at his growth, noting his new skills and levels. Cross and his mentors discuss short-term goals, planning the next steps in his training. Cross hesitates but finally agrees to face a monster or someone he can challenge in battle. The team discusses a reinstatement exam. Cross's dream of studying at an adventurer's school resurfaces. Cross recalls his village's attack by monsters 4 years ago, revealing his traumatic past. The story shifts to Alicia, the hero who appeared like the wind to save Cross's village. Cross admits to admiring Alicia, which is why he enrolled in adventurer's school to protect people. Cross denies the idea of facing the Hydra, feeling unworthy and hesitant, unsure about his abilities. The group discusses a reinstatement exam Cross will have to take if he wishes to advance. Cross reflects on his past, remembering the terrifying monster attack on his village 4 years ago. Cross recalls hero Alicia, who saved his village from monsters, shaping his dream to protect others. Cross admits his admiration for Alicia, revealing his motivation for joining the adventurer's school to protect people. Rion smiles mischievously, promising Cross a secret weapon to help with his reinstatement exam. 20 days pass, and the tension grows as Cross prepares for his reinstatement exam, feeling nervous. Group reassures Cross, confident in his growth, and advises him to act confidently for the exam. Rion and the others remind Cross about the challenge ahead as he faces the reinstatement exam. At the exam hall, Cross takes a deep breath, reassured by the skills he's learned. Cross steps into the arena for his reinstatement exam, greeted by a crowd of spectators. Some students discuss Cross's appearance, mocking him after his previous expulsion and labeling him as jobless. Cross is stunned by the exam's unexpected intensity, realizing it's not as simple as he thought. Cross is shocked to see his opponent Giselle standing confidently, her overwhelming presence challenging him. Giselle reacts with surprise and anger, questioning Cross's boldness to choose her as his opponent. Cross is stunned to see Rion as his opponent. She grins, preparing to thoroughly defeat him. Cross is humiliated by a master, told he can never become an adventurer. She mocks him. Frustrated, Cross challenges them. He insists on taking an exam in the form of a contest. Begins in an arena, with Cross facing intense competition. The tension builds as they prepare. The female master unleashes a fierce sword attack, aiming to overwhelm Cross with her skill. Cross activates a body-hardening skill to survive, realizing he has new powers to fight back. The master's sword strike creates a powerful explosion, sending debris flying, intensifying the fight. Cross, still alive, is questioned about his unbelievable power. The scene shifts to concern. Cross is injured, groaning from pain. The master stares at him, unsure of his resilience. The audience gasps at the unexpected twist. Cross's defense skills leave everyone baffled and amazed. The master increases her attack intensity, using a powerful sword skill. Cross braces himself. The female master's attack is interrupted, her sword colliding with the air as Cross dodges. Cross realizes his fear has vanished. He's surprised by his own newfound composure and resolve. The master reflects on her earlier attack, realizing it didn't cause the damage she expected. Another master enters the scene, joining the battle with a confident grin, prepared for action. Cross feels the surge of power again. Using physical enhancement, he prepares for the next strike. Cross adapts under pressure, shifting agility on command as his master instructs mid-battle strategy change. Smiling with realization, Cross counters with precision. His new technique disrupts her rhythm completely. Giselle launches a devastating charge, aiming to end the match, but Cross narrowly dodges the strike. Cross retaliates with perfect timing, unleashing an unexpected offensive skill that cuts through her attack formation. Spectators gasp in disbelief. Giselle is forced back. Cross dominates using unpredictable zero-point movement pattern. Giselle launches a sweeping kick, but Cross dodges fluidly, unsettling her rhythm and counterattack focus. Breathing heavily, Cross realizes his strikes lack impact. Giselle's defense remains too strong to penetrate cleanly. His mentor recalls X skill, an advanced technique formed by blending multiple skills into a more powerful strike. Cross activates the skill. His sword glows. A sudden, precise strike catches Giselle completely off guard. Enraged by the blow, Giselle powers up with minor enhancement, ready to end it forcefully. Cross's strike sends Giselle flying across the arena, shocking the crowd with sudden reversal momentum. Giselle counters with a brutal vertical slash. Cross remembers his mentor's advice about facing death bravely. Tension rises as Cross charges forward, ignoring the killing intent, embracing risk to shift the battle. Recalled memories of Hydra battles reinforce his resolve. This new skill perfectly suits his fearless nature. Cross activates emergency evasion and clear-cut, simultaneously dodging at peak speed while launching a decisive strike. Cross executes cross-counter, striking cleanly with enhanced precision. Giselle is blasted backward mid-offensive leap. Giselle crashes to the ground. The crowd watches, stunned. Cross stands victorious, sword still raised. The impact sends shockwaves across the arena, confirming Cross's decisive win in dramatic fashion. Giselle lies defeated in the arena dust. One mentor smiles approvingly at the spectacular outcome. The judge declares Cross has passed the reinstatement exam. Cheers erupt. Cross stands speechless, overwhelmed. Confetti rains as Cross stands stunned, realizing he truly succeeded after a grueling battle. Cross celebrates in disbelief. Meanwhile, Giselle sits defeated, consumed by frustration and disbelief over her loss. Cross panics when Giselle collapses. The crowd calls for healing. She mutters accusations through clenched teeth. Voices echo outside the arena. Cross's mentors praise his strength and the effort he endured. Cross joyfully thanks his masters. They examine his growth, proud of the boy they raised. Cross's status sheet shows 0 base stats, but his skill growth has skyrocketed beyond expectations. The mentors silently scan the stats. What they read defies all sense of normal progression. Both women stare in disbelief. Cross's rapid skill growth is unnatural, almost threatening in its pace. As Cross cheerfully runs ahead, his mentors exchange nervous glances over his unprecedented development rate. With the school now in view, Cross jumps for joy. His journey has only just begun. Cross cheerfully waved goodbye after a school day, unaware 3 powerful mentors were watching closely. Returning home, Cross greeted his teacher, Lyudmila, who remained silent, puzzled by his confident energy. Lyudmila reported Cross's carefree outing. The others questioned why he wasn't training under Rion's guidance. They were shocked he passed the academy exam. None believed someone like him could succeed. A copy of Cross's status plate was shown. They demanded analysis. His abilities needed immediate verification. Cross's stats shocked everyone. His rapid growth rate drew suspicion and curious comparisons to past students. Frustration exploded. One mentor launched a furious magic attack, unleashing overwhelming flames across the entire field. Smoke and destruction surrounded Lyudmila, who stood victorious alone amid the scorched and boiling battlefield. Another mentor screamed in outrage, demanding to know why Lyudmila unleashed such devastating force on them. Badly burned and clothes shredded, the women complained, blaming Lyudmila for ruining everything, including today's schedule. Lyudmila accused them of using forbidden treasures on Cross. Her suspicion intensified everyone's rising tension. She furiously warned that using such items early would irreversibly corrupt Cross's development and growth. Despite the accusation, the 2 girls denied everything, frustrated at being blamed for Cross's strength. Lyudmila demanded an explanation. If no relic was used, how could such stats be possible? Even they began to question the situation, realizing Cross's progress might not be natural after all. The mentors pressed for answers, demanding insight from the one who personally accepted Cross as apprentice. They analyzed his 2-week progress. Even with intense training, his growth exceeded all normal human expectations. Despite lacking a class, Cross's development outpaced logic. His unusual speed became impossible to dismiss. Meanwhile, at Almeria Royal Adventure School, new lessons about innate and awakened powers were introduced. Professor explained rare cases, individuals awakening unique skills unnaturally after birth, hinting Cross might be such anomaly. During class, Cross learned about rare awakenings, possibly triggered by magic or near-death experiences. Cross focused hard, hoping class knowledge would enhance his training under Rion's demanding instruction. Suddenly, the classroom's mood changed. Cross noticed ominous stares and tension from his nearby classmates. Gazelle's glare confirmed her anger hadn't faded. Cross trembled, realizing her resentment still lingered deeply. Outside, students were instructed to pair up for mock battles with others of similar class. Cross tried asking to pair up, but was repeatedly rejected, leaving him discouraged and alone. Haunted by Gazelle's wrath, Cross realized classmates avoided him, fearing her retaliation and bad mood. Cross nervously approached Gazelle to apologize. Her reaction was explosive, catching everyone's attention and concern. Classmates panicked and warned him to retreat, afraid Gazelle's anger would turn into disaster again. Suddenly, Cross spotted something terrifying behind them. Everyone froze as danger silently approached from behind. Lyudmila retrieved a high-grade magic tool capable of revealing hidden attributes in great detail. Together, the mentors examined Cross's status again, this time using the merchant-grade magical detection lens. As they observed, something odd happened. Smoke and distortion clouded the bottom section of his data. Cross's stats appeared normal, but something was clearly being hidden behind that strange magical interference. They questioned if Cross possessed a concealment skill, an ability to mask true powers from detection. The mentors realized advanced appraisal magic had been used on Cross beyond normal concealment detection methods. They decided to keep the findings secret from Cross, analyzing his condition privately for now. Worried someone might uncover Cross's secret, Taroma feared the school's adventurers could expose the truth. Cross was shocked to see Alicia Lafagalion, a descendant of heroes, suddenly appear at school. Recognizing her instantly, Cross called out to Alicia, surprised and overwhelmed by her unexpected presence. Students were awestruck as Alicia Lafagalion, hero descendant, appeared boldly before the entire hallway. Alicia confidently approached Cross, ignoring everyone else. While Gazelle and others watched with confusion, she leaned in closely, locking eyes with Cross, analyzing him with silent but intense curiosity. Cross panicked from the sudden confrontation. Alicia confirmed her suspicions he was the one she'd heard about. Relieved, Alicia confessed she worried after hearing rumors about Cross passing the reinstatement exam successfully. Cross froze as Alicia grabbed his hands, drawing curious stares from students witnessing her tears. Alicia suddenly carried Cross and vanished in a flash, stunning everyone who saw their escape. Meanwhile, Gazelle reflected on Alicia's famed swordswoman prodigy and descendant of the legendary hero's bloodline. Inspired by Alicia's presence, some students dreamed of fame and marrying heroic bloodlines through adventuring. Alone outside, Cross gratefully thanked Alicia, revealing her past heroism had inspired his dream to improve. Alicia recalled Cross's bravery in saving her, while others insisted they'd handle him instead. She revealed she'd searched tirelessly for Cross. Disappointed Rion never followed up after the stampede. Alicia sincerely offered her help, promising to support him however she could in return. Cross tried to deflect praise, while others told him to keep his training background secret. Under Alicia's expectant gaze, Cross panicked, unsure what favor he could possibly request from her. The boy shyly admits to upsetting an orphanage girl and seeks advice on apologizing. Thinking practically, he asks Alicia, a female adventurer, for an idea from her perspective. Alicia suggests buying sweets, thinking a tasty snack could help ease the girl's anger. Alicia excitedly offers to join him, insisting they go together and buy treats immediately. Though embarrassed, he agrees. Alicia promises to meet him after changing into casual clothes. The boy waits nervously in the busy church square, anxious about Alicia's promised appearance. Alicia suddenly arrives and surprises him. Her presence in disguise startles the surrounding onlookers. Wearing a magical cloak, Alicia explains her secrecy and warns him not to draw attention. She reveals her arrival was hidden from guards, stressing the importance of keeping things discreet. Alicia declares the day a secret between them, leaving the boy overwhelmed and blushing internally. They reach the vendor stalls, inspecting sweets together. Alicia observed quietly while he picked options eagerly. They sat at a quaint cafe. Alicia reviewed the menu while sipping tea, expression calm. Alicia happily ate while he rushed around for orders. They seemed oddly comfortable in public together. She smiled radiantly at him. He blushed, surprised by her warmth and open expression toward him. On a bench, they rested. She asked about shopping. He admitted his limited experience and money, and Alicia and the boy agree it was fun. He feels useful for once. She confesses this carefree outing was her first real time spent outside training missions. Though uncertain if fun counts as thanks, she sincerely appreciated the boy's kindness and effort. Curious, he asks Alicia to share stories about her battles and the worlds she's seen. She hesitates, but he insists, eager to hear anything from someone he deeply admires. Alicia began recounting a fierce battle at Beckoning Valley, vividly describing monstrous creatures and danger. Cross listened in awe, wondering how Alicia faced such terror without fear or hesitation. Alicia admitted her fear honestly, revealing that rigorous training was her way of enduring it. She praised Cross's bravery against the Hydra, surprising him with sincere recognition of his courage. Flustered, Cross tried to downplay himself, crediting others for the strength he showed that day. Alicia softly thanked Cross for saving her, calling his act cool and unforgettable. Cross nervously thanked her, deciding it was time to return, but Alicia stopped him gently. She reminded him to reconcile with another student, leaving without saying her proper thanks. Cross stood among the crowd, watching her go, feeling conflicted but deeply moved by her words. Soon after, Cross returned to Almeria Royal Adventure School, his heart stirred with newfound purpose. Cross shares a story of battling monsters in Beckoning Valley, capturing the boy's awe. Alicia admits her fear and explains she trains hard to face terrifying foes bravely. She tells him hard work won't betray him, leaving him stunned by her resolve. Despite being level 0, Cross once faced a Hydra to protect her from danger. Moved by her praise, Cross reflects on the kindness others have shown him so far. A faculty member reports a dangerous decline in wildlife, hinting at a lurking powerful demon threat. Meanwhile, Cross sets off determinedly, unaware a sinister figure watches, planning to exploit the danger. Cross's wooden sword shattered mid-swing during training, catching him off guard and losing balance. Panting, Cross insisted on paying for his own weapons. Rion noticed his unusual motivation today. Rion announced Cross would train with others now. He was shocked but excited for magic lessons. Lyudmila began teaching wind magic, explaining mana's flow and stressing full-body immersion in elemental forces. Cross was abruptly stripped for training. Lyudmila claimed it helped internalize magic chaos erupted around them. Spinning through the air, Cross was humiliated, while Telomea joked about improving training efficiency. 2 days passed. Cross recited a chant, invoking wind magic as part of a new technique. With focused will, Cross launched Wind Shot, impressing everyone with his first successful offensive magic attack. Lyudmila praised his effort, but warned magic required time and shouldn't replace conventional combat entirely. Instructors reviewed Cross's status. Despite being jobless and level 0, his skill set appeared highly unusual. The mentors analyzed Cross's rapid skill growth, noting advanced abilities gained in an unusually short time. Despite being level 0, Cross's strange status intrigued the teachers, who awaited new appraisal tools' arrival. Cross reviewed his skill list, amazed by the results and deeply grateful for his master's guidance. Cross proudly wielded a new sword, recognizing his progress but worried about his empty finances. At the Adventurers Guild, Cross sought quests, realizing earning money was now his top priority. The guild board displayed changing trends, monster shortages, empire unrest, and rising meat prices stirred demand. Cross felt hopeless. Without a party, he couldn't even qualify for beginner quests outside town. Old friends approached casually. Their chat lifted Cross's spirits and reminded him of past kindness. Grateful and surprised, Cross was invited to join their team, filling their missing 5th slot. Thankful for the opportunity, Cross realized even small kindnesses could lead to unexpected new paths. The party entered the Western Forest, assigning roles. Cross was tasked with protecting the rear. Each member's role was clear. Cross nervously agreed to escort and protect their water mage. Cross grew uneasy as they drifted from the trail, worried about the unfamiliar terrain ahead. Despite Cross's hesitation, the leader insisted the path was safe and monster risk remained low. They stopped at a clearing, but Cross sensed something was off. No monsters were present at all. Cross realized the quest was fake. The leader warned too late it was a setup. Giselle attacked with fury, calling out Cross by name. Shocked, he struggled to understand her. Cross stood ready, confused. His former teammates watched as chaos replaced their supposed monster hunt. Giselle revealed her hatred. She orchestrated everything to defeat Cross and prove her worth. Fueled by resentment, Giselle blamed Cross for humiliating her during the public exam, seeking revenge. Giselle commanded the group to attack. Cross was suddenly outnumbered by his supposed allies. Overwhelmed, Cross was struck. Giselle raged about humiliation, loss, and her fight to reclaim everything. Giselle recalled bitter stares and judgment. The hatred she endured burned deep into her thoughts. Consumed by desperation, Giselle fought violently. She refused to be defeated, fearing total emotional collapse. Cross questioned their motives. Was his accidental damage to Giselle's reputation worth such betrayal and fury? The water mage invoked sacred magic? Giselle interrupted, unleashing her own spell mid-chant with fury. A massive water blast surged forward. Cross braced himself as the spell filled the battlefield. Cross panicked at the incoming force. He couldn't believe the magic was aimed his way. The ground erupted. Cross faced overwhelming odds, barely dodging with instinctive movement and desperation. Despite exhaustion, Cross remembered his mentor's faith. He refused to fall before reaching his true start. Cross began chanting wind magic, focusing his mana as the others prepared for incoming attacks. He invoked the spell fully, channeling wind spirit energy to strike down his charging enemies. Cross unleashed Wind Shot, knocking opponents back. Giselle was stunned. He'd learned real combat magic. The group is shocked by Cross's unexpected magical power. They realize he has hidden abilities. Chaos ensues as the team panics, unable to handle Cross's unexpected power and magic. Cross, gaining confidence, unleashes a wind shot, creating a strong gust that catches them off guard. Cross is stunned as his magic halts midair. Confusion spreads as he tries to regain control. The female master, irritated, reveals her own magic. challenging Cross as their powers collide. The master strikes with a powerful wind attack, but Cross narrowly dodges, still under pressure. Cross struggles against the powerful force and begins to lose control, his body tossed in the air. The female master grins, revealing her lovely magic, claiming superiority over Cross's earlier efforts. Cross realizes that Giselle's magic allows her to steal magical initiative, making her a formidable opponent. Cross, exhausted and defeated, hides behind a tree, but Giselle taunts him for giving up. Cross, desperate, orders the air to form a bullet to strike his enemies, defying Giselle's warning. The wind shot launches, creating a huge force, but the enemies seem unfazed, ready for it. Cross creates a smokescreen to cover his escape, but Giselle quickly sees through his tactic. Giselle urges the group to stay calm, recognizing Cross's physical ability is still inferior to theirs. Despite his limitations, Cross is determined, escaping deeper into the forest while the group splits up to chase. Eren is sent to search for Cross, as the team is at risk of failing their mission. Suddenly, Eren's group hears a loud crack, and they realize something is terribly wrong in the forest. The group is thrown into chaos as a massive impact shakes the area, causing rocks to scatter. The entire forest is left in disarray and the team is stunned by the sheer destruction. Giselle is horrified by the devastation and frantically searches for any sign of her team's safety. Eren is ordered to search for Cross, or they could all face serious consequences. A sudden snap and crack unsettle the group as they realize something dangerous is happening. The force of the impact is immense, knocking everyone back and causing destruction across the forest. The team is left shocked, surrounded by the aftermath of a devastating attack in the forest. Giselle rushes to check on her team, concerned about the damage and wondering if everyone is safe. The group stumbles upon a terrifying rock warlord warrior, realizing it's causing the strange forest disturbances. Giselle orders the injured to be carried into the woods, directing the group to flee for safety. The warriors make a run for it, but Giselle fears the monster might still catch them. As the creature roars, Giselle stands firm, ready to face the monster, defying her fear. Giselle battles the monster, her fury building as the creature continues to wreak havoc in the forest. Giselle struggles, exhausted and injured, as she realizes no matter what, someone must be sacrificed. Despite her pain, Giselle finds a glimmer of hope, believing her actions will buy Cross more time. Cross hears desperate cries and is puzzled by the strange sounds, sensing something isn't right. Cross remembers a moment from his past, recalling a memory of his sibling and their dreams. Giselle remembers a tender moment with her younger sibling, giving her the strength to continue fighting. Tragic scene unfolds as younger sibling apologizes, unable to fulfill their dream of becoming an adventurer. Giselle faces rock warlord warrior, furious about her impending defeat and feeling the weight her past mistakes. Giselle reflects on the orphans under her care, fearing for their future if she fails now. Giselle, filled with rage, vows to leave a scar on the creature's face before her death. Giselle faces the warrior head-on, but the monstrous attack hits, causing her to brace for impact. Cross rushes to Giselle, worried she's hurt. As the rock monster looms dangerously overhead, Giselle is shocked as she sees Cross arrive, realizing he's come back to help her. A giant monster appeared. Cross urged Giselle to escape, preparing himself to face the threat. Giselle yelled in disbelief. Despite her betrayal, Cross still chose to protect and support her. Cross's earlier wind shot didn't injure the monster. The enemy remained powerful and completely unharmed. They identified it as a rock lizard warrior far beyond their level, fast and unstoppable. Cross trembled but stood his ground. Despite fear, he chose to fight rather than flee. Cross recalled his mentors and resolve. He pushed forward, determined to protect like a hero. He refused to abandon Giselle. Running would betray those who believed in his potential. The monster charged. Cross analyzed its rhythm mid-battle, seeking a weakness in its powerful rush. Aiming for its neck, Cross launched a desperate counter-strike, fully committing to stop the beast. Cross's attack connected. The force sent him flying as the monster was thrown off course. Cross braces his sword, realizing the monster's hide is too tough for direct strikes. Giselle analyzes the monster's armor, noting Cross's lack of power for head-on confrontation. Cross begins chanting a dark incantation while the monster charges, catching Giselle by complete surprise. With defense magic weakening the beast, Cross prepares for a close-range strike with full determination. Cross slams his attack into the weakened spot, landing a decisive counter against the beast. The boy jumps high to strike again, but the monster retaliates with a wide roar. Its massive claw smashes down, flinging the boy into the air with violent force. He crashes hard across the ground, motionless, as the girl watches in horror and disbelief. His status card falls open, revealing skill levels and stats enhanced by compensation effects. Despite his effort, his magic is too weak to affect the monster's heavy defenses. He reflects on his dreams and the people he wants to protect and support. Frustrated by past helplessness, he declares his resolve to stop depending on others forever. Summoning strength, he stands again, clenching his sword, refusing to collapse under despair. Despite the enemy's chant, he charges forward, determined to defy fate and protect everyone. He activates Guard Out again, facing the charging beast with fearless determination and raw courage. He casts Wind Shot, channeling energy to strike the monster with a whirlwind-empowered sword attack. The spell slams into the beast's head mid-incantation, interrupting its deadly charge with explosive force. Multiple guard-out spells reduce the monster's defenses, weakening it further with each shout and flash. The monster reacts using emergency evasion and body hardening, bracing for the counterattack with swirling speed. He combines Guard Out, Wind Shot, and Clear Cut in rapid succession, aiming to pierce through. One of the girls watches nervously. Cross is overusing skills recklessly against the charging monster. Cross grabs a sword from the ground, determined to end the clash with precision this time. He charges forward, eyes focused, and swings with full strength as debris flies around his target. A powerful shockwave erupts. Cross yells for more force while overwhelming the monster with relentless pressure. Despite expectations, his momentum keeps increasing. The girl is shocked his attack hasn't slowed down at all. Cross activates a new skill and overwhelming force surges outward, shocking his monstrous opponent instantly. The scene shifts to Almeria's prestigious academy where questions arise about Cross's mysterious background. Inside the dean's office, the three mentors uncover something startling hidden within Cross's confidential student record. They examine a magical screen revealing his innate ability, one tied to rapid skill development and mastery. The skill Cinderella Grey grants unparalleled growth potential, explaining his explosive power and unorthodox progression speed. The mentors analyzed Cross's unique skill. None of them had encountered anything similar before. Cross engaged the monster mid-air. Observers recognized his abnormal growth wasn't normal by any standard. His status showed multiple high-level abilities. Every moment in battle caused his skills to evolve rapidly. Empowered by adrenaline and pain, Cross pushed forward, unleashing another surge of energy through sheer will. Cross possesses a hidden skill that rapidly increases learning speed, confusing even his elite mentors. A high-risk monster appears in the beginner forest, prompting panic and the formation of teams. Cross and Giselle engage the monster alone. Cross uses sword techniques while Giselle provides support. Giselle instructs Cross to focus his magic into his palms, forming a deadly wind bullet. Cross unleashes dark magic with full aggression, combining intense rage and power to break enemy defenses. Cross moves so swiftly and violently that it looks like multiple warriors are attacking alone. With each landed blow, system notifications flood in as his skill levels rise continuously mid-battle. His stats skyrocket, every attribute and technique sharpened through constant use under high-stress combat conditions. Despite exhaustion, Cross swings again. His body trembles, but his focus and will remain intact. The monster endures untouched. Cross burns with desperation, unsure if he can endure to the end. The monster releases a massive blast. Cross braces himself, overwhelmed by the approaching wave of fire. The attack strikes hard. Cross survives, but is suddenly warned he's missing a crucial countermeasure. Giselle appears, revealing her magic disrupts the enemy's skills. She prepares to support the battle. Cross is stunned by Giselle's strength. She commands him to ready wind magic for combination. Together they unleash a synchronized attack. Giselle's lovely magic disrupts, while Cross fires his wind shot. Giselle commands Cross to follow through. A whirlwind forms, drawing the monster's attention and confusion. Their combination attack breaks through. Cross's final strike pierces the monster, causing it to scream in agony. Cross confirms the attack worked. He celebrates briefly until Giselle yells not to lower his guard yet. Cross lets down his guard. The wounded monster suddenly glares and prepares a vicious counterattack. As the monster lunges, Cross realizes too late he's exposed, vulnerable, and caught in a deadly moment. Giselle sacrifices herself to shield Cross, taking the full brunt of the monster's counterattack. The monster's blow sends shockwaves. Both warriors are thrown back as rubble scatters across the battlefield. Bruised and coughing, Giselle scolds Cross. She collapses, reminding him why she used her magic. Giselle recalls her sister and cries, devastated. She begs her not to die in front. Cross faces the monster alone. Though wounded and afraid, he rises, trembling but refusing to flee. Cross remembers her words, fear is natural. To survive, You train, endure, and move forward. He stands tall, beaten yet burning. His faith and hard work steels his shaking grip. Cross activates all his minor enhancements. He pours everything into a final skill combination assault. He shouts the chant, invoking all the training and magic his mentors gave him. The wind swirls violently. A magical chant escapes Cross unconsciously, his mouth moving with terrifying instinct. Cross unknowingly casts a new spell, an unstable fusion between wind shot and guard out. Magic. Observers realize the impossible. A fusion between magic and black magic has formed an extra skill. System registers the anomaly error skill. Aegis, a technique not defined in standard ability parameters. Cross unleashes Aegis shot, blasting the monster's chest with condensed dark energy at point-blank range. The attack weakens the monster's body briefly enough to reveal a fatal opening for a killing blow. Cross drives his blade into the monster's exposed weak point, shattering armor and piercing deep inside. The monster weakens from Aegis shot. Cross seizes the moment and drives his blade deeper. With a final roar, Cross's attack tears through the monster's core. It begins to collapse. Giselle watches the beast fall. She stunned Cross, once powerless, now stands over its defeated body. She recalls how Cross was mocked, weak and jobless, unable to even fight back tears. Despite rejection and humiliation, Cross never quit. Through pain and failure, he kept moving toward strength. Exhausted but victorious, Cross kneels beside the fallen monster, realizing he actually won alone. Struggling to breathe, Cross releases tension. Pain floods in, but relief washes over his face. He whispers in disbelief. Giselle stares, equally stunned. Together, they really did defeat the monster. Cross celebrates with Giselle. She's shocked by his power, wondering about the strange skill he used. An awkward moment follows. Cross grabs her hand unknowingly. Giselle blushes, furious and confused by the gesture. Giselle urges Cross to dismantle the corpse for materials before more monsters arrive nearby. Before they begin, a massive shockwave suddenly blasts across the area, scattering the ground violently. 3 powerful women approach in a storm. They misinterpret Giselle's involvement as something personal and vindictive. One proposes leveling the entire forest. Another worries Cross might still be in the blast radius. Amid all the chaos, Cross and Giselle remain collapsed beside the monster's corpse, quiet, unaware, resting. Giselle and Cross quietly rest against the monster's corpse, unaware of the others rushing over. The masters arrive in panic. Amazed, Cross defeated a rock lizard and rushed to heal him. Cross tries to thank them but collapses again. Chaos erupts as accusations and awkward moments fly. Giselle watches in horror, realizing these overpowered women make level 4 monsters seem utterly insignificant. Cross smiles weakly while fading out again, whispering gratitude and wondering if he came close enough. Cross dreams of becoming a true adventurer, someone dependable, able to save others in crisis. The grand building stands under sunlight, signaling Cross's recovery in the safety of civilization. Cross stirs in bed, slowly awakening after collapsing from battle's exhaustion and his fading strength. The girls gather around Cross with relief, concerned for his health and eager to help. Cross realizes he's safe inside the mansion, overwhelmed by gratitude and everyone's efforts to save him. Cross and Giselle recover in silence beneath the sun, resting against the slain beast's massive head together. Cross is swarmed by his comrades, who marvel at his feat and rush to heal his battered body. Cross thanks his mentors through broken words, then passes out as confusion and chaos erupt among the girls. Overwhelmed by the girls' antics, Cross realizes they're scarier than monsters, powerful, loud, and emotionally unpredictable. Cross fades into unconsciousness with a peaceful smile, as the others panic and scramble to save him. Cross thanked his mentors and proudly recounted his battle against a dangerous level 4 monster. He credited their teaching, reflecting on how even unknown skills emerged during his desperate struggle. The girls considered scolding him but forgave him due to his humility and cheerful gratitude. Days later, Cross enrolled at the prestigious Royal Adventurers School Almeria to continue his training. Entering the lively lecture hall, Cross was stunned as students paused and turned to stare. Cross entered the lecture hall, drawing attention. Students whispered, doubting his monster-slaying tale. A sudden movement from Giselle startled everyone. Cross stood confused, sensing a misunderstanding brewing. Cross tried to ask about her health, but Giselle's anger and tension intensified instead. Embarrassed and unsure, Giselle defended her actions while classmates teased her unresolved grudge against Cross. Not understanding the situation, Cross tried to distance himself, but Giselle reacted with flustered confusion. Giselle blushes, awkwardly apologizing to Cross for her behavior, finally breaking the tension between them. The boys, feeling guilty, shout their apologies in unison, catching Cross completely off guard. Cross forgives them without hesitation, surprising everyone with his kindness, causing concern about his naivety. Their reconciliation halts class, prompting whispers of rumors, skills, and admiration from surrounding students and adventurers. Elsewhere, a noblewoman mocks the tale, doubting a jobless commoner's strength, but smirks knowingly to herself. As Cross watched from behind, the girl walked away, leaving him wondering if they reconciled. 3 women observe as the boy chants a powerful incantation, magic gathering fiercely around him. Channeling the charged energy into his blade, he roars the skill name and unleashes Aegis shot. The attack bursts forward. He charges through the explosion, locking eyes with the approaching female warrior. Using the blast's momentum, he leaps and drives his knee directly into her armored chest. Impressed but unharmed, she acknowledges his skill, realizing his low-level move holds unexpected destructive potential. One master analyzes his method, merging black warrior and magic skills into a lethal combination. Proud of his progress, the women crowd him, each praising him as their talented disciple. Despite praise, they acknowledge the chant is long and accuracy low. Success rate remains unpredictable at best. They explain that even failed skills can deceive enemies, calming nerves and opening strategic advantages. Humbled, he agrees to focus on polishing basics. The veterans plan structured training from now on. Cross unleashes an unexpected technique. The masters are stunned by what they call an error skill. His stats reveal explosive growth after battle, boosted by a hidden talent known as Cinderella Grey. Realizing Cross's potential, each master secretly plots to win him over for personal gain. Later, Cross resumes daily chores, unaware of the fierce interest he's ignited among his mentors. One mentor invites him to relax together, hinting at a more personal connection beyond training. Each master proposes a one-on-one outing, disguising it as education, training, or battle study. Telonia embraces Cross tightly, suggesting board games and shopping while others watch in disbelief. Arguments erupt among the mentors, each refusing to back down, preparing to settle things with power. They abruptly leave for light exercise, leaving Cross confused and alone at the dinner table. Cross stares out nervously as distant tremors and explosive shockwaves shake the peaceful evening walls. The fierce duel ends in a draw, with all 3 women battered yet still competitive. To settle future turns with Cross, they agree to a lottery, trying to stay civil. The next day, the Grand Gladiator Hall fills with spectators eager to witness the tournament. 2 cloaked figures admire the view, excited by the crowd and the prime arena seats. Rion and Cross cheer from the stands, enjoying the battles and bonding through shared excitement. Cross watches in awe as the semi-finals unfold, impressed by the fighters' strategic growth. 2 seasoned warriors enter. Cross marvels at their strength, while Rion analyzes their class levels. Rion explains appraisal skills, showing how even basic ones can offer useful insight during matches. She encourages Cross to learn through observation and proposes a friendly bet on the outcome. Cross hesitates but accepts the wager, excited to participate and learn through this playful challenge. Cross places his bet, choosing the underdog Quick Flash Knight over the higher-level Heavy Warrior. Rion explains the Heavy Warrior's defensive strategy: endure attacks, then counter with one decisive blow. The Quick Flash Knight charges forward, agile and fast, but warned of possible counter techniques. The Knight's swift attack shatters the field. Heavy Warrior drops his weapon, caught in an explosion. As smoke clears, the Quick Flash Knight stands victorious. Cross watches in stunned silence and awe. Pavlov is declared champion. Cross is amazed. Rion quietly smiles, satisfied with the day's excitement. On their walk back, Cross praises Rion's teachings and asks to go with her again. Despite losing the bet, Rione offers Cross food, flustered by his kindness and innocent charm. Pavlov enters the competitor's waiting room, receiving praise from nobles observing his promising performance. House Richmond discusses noble power struggles. Pavlov is urged to expand influence amid rising faction disputes. Catalea Richmond declares her intent to lead expansion, proving strength through power and noble influence. She confidently asks which contest best showcases her faction's strength in the coming competition. Pointing to a poster, she suggests a grand event to display their dominance to all. The next day, Cross reflects happily on the tournament, unaware of the looming noble ambitions. Cross runs into Giselle, who unexpectedly offers financial help after hearing rumors among the orphans. Cross, now recruited for a quest, nervously asks if it's really okay to participate, unsure. After receiving the quest details, Cross spots a challenging job, questioning whether he's ready for it. When Cross sees a rewarding fluffy slime suppression quest, his enthusiasm pushes him to accept. The slime suppression contest begins. Cross realizes rewards depend on subjugation count tracked by magic. Giselle reveals she ranked up from her previous battle, qualifying to lead their current quest. Others crowd Cross for training tips. Embarrassed, he tries to deflect, but Giselle interrupts firmly. Giselle warns Cross to be cautious and secretive. She admits concern, not wanting unnecessary blame. Cross thanks her sincerely. They agree to keep everything quiet, sealing the moment as shared trust. Giselle grew flustered from Cross's words, her face reddening while trying to compose herself quickly. The party spotted a distant swarm approaching rapidly. Everyone braced for battle as tension built. A massive wave of fluffy slimes darkened the sky, descending aggressively toward the gathered warriors. Giselle led the charge with confidence, commanding everyone to follow the coordinated battle formation plan. Mages unleashed elemental spells, fire, water, and wind, striking the swarm while Cross rallied with determined resolve. Mages from every side unleashed elemental attacks, preparing to suppress the flying slime swarm's assault. The elemental barrage struck the advancing slimes, sending smoke and slime bodies scattering across the battlefield. Giselle charged with determination, facing the charging slimes head-on, sword gripped tightly in defense. With the battle ignited, everyone fought fiercely. The suppression contest truly began in full force. Giselle led the charge, slashing slimes in a frenzy as others followed in coordinated combat. The team competes intensely, counting slimes defeated. Everyone pushes themselves to outscore one another rapidly. A second wave of flying slimes surges in. The team braces for the next assault. Despite casting spells, the slime swarm's speed and force remain unbroken, surprising the frontline fighters. A massive storm of slimes crashes down, overwhelming the team and forcing them to fall back. Giselle commands a defensive stance. They realize the slimes are stronger than anticipated, demanding quick adaptation. A sudden explosion erupts, engulfing the entire field in blinding fire and scattered debris. The mage laughs gleefully, proud of the impact, while onlookers stare in shock and confusion. This realizes the magic used resembles bombing spells. The caster smirks confidently at his reaction. She explains her long-range magic technique, leaving destroyed monsters and amazed mages behind her. Casting again, she prepares a follow-up bombardment, chanting as magical projectiles float ominously overhead. She releases a swarm of magical bombs, shrieking "kill" as they surge toward the battlefield below. Supporting mages unleash rock cannon, combining intermediate earth magic with the bombing barrage for full area saturation. A group of melee fighters, confident and determined, tells the mages they'll finish off the survivors. Amid chaotic combat, the frontliners rush in, dodging and brawling, while monsters fall rapidly under heavy pressure. Recognized as the gladiator tournament champion, the smug mage unleashes another massive, elegant, magic-fueled annihilation spell. Giselle identifies the flamboyant caster as Catalea Richmond, a powerful, flashy noble who loves attention. Catalea, a mid-level noble and 16-year-old dual mage, astonishes others with her explosive strength. Giselle explains the importance of knowing nobles, as power struggles often determine one's safety here. Slimes still swarm the field. The group halts chatter and prepares to eliminate lingering enemies quickly. The scene shifts to a grand arena where the winner of the fluffy slime hunt is announced. Catalea's team triumphs with 2,628 slimes. Giselle's team barely reaches 221, sparking envy and confusion. Despite the loss, Giselle remains focused, urging her group to prepare for the next opportunity. They reflect on coordination failures. Formation broke, mages overwhelmed. New training is planned to fix teamwork issues. Giselle warns Cross to join training if he wants more rewards, urging discipline despite his nerves. The team speculates Giselle's motives, teasing Cross until she overhears and glares, sending panic through the group. Cross spots a noble carriage inside. Catalea hides her gaze behind a fan, watching silently. Confused by the noble's presence, Cross watches as Catalea calmly steps from her carriage. From the carriage, nobles observe Cross's group, noting their growing reputation among townspeople and adventurers. They discuss the classless orphan and Giselle's victory over a rock lizard. Skeptical but intrigued. Laughing, Catalea mocks their reputation. Nobles question the rumors and decide to challenge Cross's party. Next, Cross and Giselle pass by a noble carriage. Inside, nobles plot to recruit skilled adventurers. Catalea plans to recruit Giselle, but if loyalty fails, she intends to eliminate her swiftly. At Orphan's private ground, the female instructor begins intense training using slime-shaped projectile stones. The children eagerly launch plushy stone slimes, mimicking real monsters, beginning the warrior's evasion exercise. Cross and his group brace themselves, positioning defensively as the soft slimes fly toward them rapidly. They deflect and dodge furiously, but Cross stumbles under pressure when one projectile nearly hits him. The instructor yells angrily. Cross apologizes, flustered, while his teammates react to the chaotic mock battle. Despite the chaos, Cross enjoys training beside others, feeling unity and excitement for the first time. An arrogant noblewoman interrupts the session, mocking their outdated methods and lack of noble-level resources. She pretends to praise Giselle, then humiliates her by referencing a past defeat to commoners. Feigning sympathy, the noble accuses Giselle of lying, provoking outrage from the orphans and her students. She declares herself their superior, offering protection in exchange for obedience under the Richmond noble household. Giselle rejects the noble's offer, declaring independence. The nobles subtly threaten retaliation in response. Catalea warns them coldly, promising regret. Her knights silently watch as tensions quietly escalate behind her. Cross questions Giselle's refusal, but she demands silence and insists they resume training immediately. The next day, they rush to register for a quest but are unexpectedly denied access. A guild officer reveals a Richmond countess accused them of an unspecified serious infraction, shocking everyone. Catalea smugly arrives, flaunting her authority. Giselle clenches her fist, furious at the underhanded manipulation. Catalea's guards insult Giselle's group. Giselle explodes, refusing to be intimidated or silenced by nobles. Catalea offers to retract her complaint, but only if Giselle submits and joins her faction. Catalea demands full subservience. Giselle, disgusted by the offer, resolves to confront her directly in defiance. Giselle challenges Catalea to a duel: freedom if she wins, submission if she loses everything. Catalea accepts the duel. The guild schedules it for 2 weeks later, formalizing the challenge. They agree on a 7 versus 7 battle. Giselle promises to crush Catalea's arrogance before everyone. Cross panics. Giselle lashes out, blaming him for the situation, then storms off in frustration. Giselle explains Catalea's group seeks power through influence, using contests to expand control across town. She reveals the city gathers noble heirs searching for spouses, explaining its intense political pressure. Nobles aim to rise through influence in Bascarubia, treating the town as global training grounds. Strong nobles protect territory with force. Weak nobles lose respect, just like dishonored individuals in society. Noble heirs seek to marry heroes, using marriage and conquest to expand power without restraint. Targeting defeated orphans boosts noble status. Claiming subjugated commoners strengthens their image and control. Giselle explains nobles exploit commoners. Cross realizes the stakes, apologizes, and understands the game's brutal depth. Giselle identifies the duel as a leader battle. Defeating Catalea quickly is their winning condition. Motivated by the stakes, her team rallies with determination to take down the arrogant nobles. Cross explains their dire situation to others, and finally agrees to prepare seriously for battle. The mentors suggest strategies: speed training, overwhelming attacks, and disruptive tactics to offset the enemy's numbers. The mentors argue fiercely, each believing their own brutal or chaotic training method is best for victory. A new strategist appears, identifying the enemy team as a fixed artillery formation with durability. She concludes Cross is the key to winning, since tactics alone can't break enemy defense. Cross's rare hybrid class allows him mobility and dual attack types potential to shift the battlefield. The strategist suggests training Cross into a true magic swordsman to harness both skill sets effectively. Cross learns that magic swordsman is a fighting style, not a class requiring intense dual discipline training. A strategist critiques Cross's unstable skills and insists he learn reliable, high-powered magic for safety. The mentors reluctantly agree to prioritize Cross's magic training, setting aside personal pride for his sake. Cross is flown to the abyssal sea of trees, a zone of elite magic. The area is reshaped for training. Cross must now battle monsters to grow magically stronger. Lewin unleashes high-rank water magic, flooding the forest and reshaping terrain for upcoming monster combat training. Cross asks about Lewin's magic types. She avoids answering, instead confirming the area's readiness for battle. She tosses an incense pouch into the air, silently preparing to draw monsters in. A horde of aggressive monsters charges forward, summoned by the powerful scent spreading across the forest. Lewin explains the incense lures weak monsters. Cross panics as they close in from every side. Cross panics as Telomia gleefully unleashes an overwhelming horde of summoned monsters for his training. With monsters defeated, the mentors calmly announce this large-scale battle was only the beginning phase. Lewin restrains Cross, preparing him mentally and physically for intense magic-based shooting practice to begin immediately. She instructs him to focus magic flow, repeating wind shot steadily to build magical precision. Cross launches a massive wind shot, obliterating monsters and terrain in a powerful magic surge. Cross panics as Telomea gleefully unleashes an overwhelming horde of summoned monsters for his training. With monsters defeated, the mentors calmly announce this large-scale battle was only the beginning phase. Lewin restrains Cross, preparing him mentally and physically for intense magic-based shooting practice to begin immediately. She instructs him to focus magic flow, repeating wind shots steadily to build magical precision. Cross launches a massive wind shot, obliterating monsters and terrain in a powerful magic surge. Cross protested the overwhelming task. Telomea cheerfully complied, summoning waves of strange, aggressive monsters. Monsters piled up, defeated. Cross was shocked by the result. Training would begin from here. With monsters surrounding them, Lyudmila firmly embraced Cross, ready to initiate the intense training process. She instructed him to channel magic precisely. Cross began releasing focused wind shots non-stop. Under Lyudmila's guidance, Cross launched a massive wind shot, violently scattering enemies across the field. A massive three-headed beast suddenly lunged forward, jaws snapping, and completely swallowed Cross in one gulp. The girls froze in shock as the monster stood tall, Cross nowhere to be seen. Lyudmila silently assessed the situation, locking eyes with the beast, unfazed by the unexpected turn. Cross erupted from the monster's gut with a powerful wind shot, blasting the creature apart. Wounded and gasping, Cross fought off more beasts, pushing forward to cast his final spells. Cross hesitated, overwhelmed by the beast's fangs. His mentors urged him to stay calm. Despite fear, Cross began chanting while running. He recalled Lyudmila's teachings and steadied his resolve. He unleashed a fierce wind shot straight at the monster, sending it staggering from impact. Recognizing wind's versatility, Cross adjusted distance, preparing to launch another precise mobility-based counterattack against it. Cross believed his attack succeeded, but the monster's regenerated head left him shocked and panicking. Cross learns Cerberus can regenerate unless all three heads are destroyed at the same time. Despite the danger, Cross charges forward as Cerberus unleashes destructive magic beams at full power. After enduring the fight, Cross collapses and Lyudmila ends the day's harsh training session. The next day, Cross explores the serene eastern forests of Basque Rubia with Lyudmila. Lyudmila reveals she brought Cross there intentionally to share peaceful time alone after training. They relaxed under the trees, Lyudmila insisting rest was also a vital part of training. Curious, he questioned her past. She admitted fleeing the elven forest, unconcerned by human boundaries. She called him her cherished disciple. He worried he'd pried too far, but she reassured. Lyudmila revealed her lonely youth. Others avoided her, seeing her honesty as a disruptive trait. Despite her past isolation, she believed challenges build strength. Her words gave him silent encouragement. They sat peacefully beneath the trees. Training paused, emotions quieted, and reflection took root. The boy launched high using a wind vortex, catching Cerberus's attention with a sudden assault. Realizing his prior tactics failed, he began dividing wind energy, refining control for double targets. Gathering power in both arms, he unleashed twin spirals, shouting his spell with absolute resolve. The violent twin wind blast tore forward, striking Cerberus's head simultaneously with crushing explosive force. The boy launched himself into the air, dodging the Cerberus's beam while aiming a counterattack. Exhausted but determined, he pushed forward as his teacher watched, recognizing his steady progress. A giant beast roared back to life as Cross launched magic, shocked by its rapid regeneration. Just before being struck, Telomea arrived and defeated the monster, saving Cross from danger again. Despite exhaustion, Cross wanted to continue training, but his masters insisted rest was now essential. Understanding her wisdom, Cross lowered his head, accepting rest as part of growth and recovery. Though uneasy with the duel approaching, Cross agreed to light training under his master's careful guidance. To master wind magic control, Cross practiced by cleaning, but chaos erupted with every motion. Cross struggled to balance magical force, while his teacher calmly instructed him to continue until dinner. Outside the academy, his teacher reminded him to feel mana flow and never lose awareness. Despite wrecked dishes and accidents, Cross showed progress, his teacher praising subtle growth in magic control. Late at night, Cross ignored advice to rest, still eager to refine his magic precision. During laundry training, Cross overused wind magic, accidentally launching undergarments high into the swirling air. As the clothes flew outside, startled girls screamed upon seeing their underwear in plain sight. Chaos erupted when Telemea misunderstood the scene, hugging Cross tightly while another master rushed over. Shocked and embarrassed, the teacher confirmed her underwear was involved, blaming Cross for training recklessly. Suddenly, lightning cracked the sky, an ominous sign hinting that more serious trials were approaching fast. With the duel approaching, Cross was tasked to defeat the Borberos to finish his training. Cross strategized to combine wind magic with movement, aiming to attack without any delay gaps. His master revealed new wind magic, subtle, lethal, and key to unlocking his true potential. Faced with the looming Borberos, Cross summoned wind around him, preparing for the critical challenge. Determined and focused, Cross charged forward, launching his attack spell to prove his training complete. Cross unleashed intermediate wind magic, launching into the air with a powerful technique called Graceful Leap. He soared toward the Borberos, eyes sharp, determined to land a decisive finishing strike. With precision, Cross dashed forward mid-air, aiming straight at the beast's core without hesitation. His teacher explained Graceful Leap's function, enhancing movement and jump distance using finely controlled wind energy. The spell gave minor mid-air adjustments, allowing Cross to evade, reposition, and strike with perfect timing. Cross's attack shattered the enemy's core, his precision powerful enough to determine the entire battle. He slipped behind the beast's guard, readying a strike to hit both remaining heads simultaneously. Unleashing Wind Shot, Cross blasted both targets, but the monster retaliated with a deadly counter. Cross realized each Borberos head acted as distinct roles: attacker, support, and scout, like 9 fighters combined. The battle was more than survival, it was preparation for the group duel awaiting him soon. Cross pushed forward in desperation, believing he couldn't win the upcoming duel without victory here. The Borberos unleashed a massive counterattack, clashing with Cross's wind spiral and explosive force. While struggling to overpower it, Cross realized the third head was regenerating mid-battle. Telemea rushed to help, but Cross shouted his chant, aiming for one final strike. His chant changed mid-cast, surprising his mentor. Cross's magic attributes kept growing with each passing moment. Amazed by Cross's progress, his mentor silently acknowledged the brilliance of his evolving spellwork. Cross strained with everything he had, unleashing a storm-like surge of power from above. As one head exploded, Telemea shouted his name in shock and fear for his safety. Meanwhile, at Orphan's training ground, others sparred intensely, unaware of Cross's solo, life-risking battle. Giselle explained Cross skipped group drills he was preparing alone for the upcoming team-based confrontation. Cross was recognized as the team's ace, his training now vital to their strategy. The team committed to their own growth, curious yet uncertain about Cross's intense solo regimen. Cross returned cheerfully, but his unchanged demeanor left his teammates stunned by the perceived contradiction. Elsewhere, Lyudmila proudly affirmed she expected his growth, her confidence unwavering amidst brewing storms. Standing beside the fallen Borberos, Lyudmila declared his success inevitable under her meticulous training guidance. Cross praised his teammates' progress, unaware Lyudmila's enhancement magic, Cinderella Grey, secretly boosted their abilities. The duel day arrived, setting the stage for the Richmond faction and Orphan group confrontation. The Orphan team reviewed their strategy one last time, fully determined to claim victory together. Both factions assembled, facing each other as the referee prepared to declare the official start. Tension escalated when insults were exchanged, revealing deep hostility between the noble and Orphan leaders. Cross analyzed the enemy's strongest members, recalling Giselle's intel on their combat styles and roles. Catalea Richmond, a powerful dual-element mage, stood proudly as the Richmond faction's commanding leader. Cross mentally assessed the enemy lineup, recognizing their healers, elemental mages, and strategic combat roles. The official declared the duel's boundaries protected by High Priest magic to prevent fatal consequences. Contestants were given tags that signaled elimination through color change upon injury-triggered magic activation. To everyone's shock, the duel format was announced: a high-stakes, full-team extermination match. The team protested the unfair rules, learning that even a draw disqualified them from quests. Angered by the manipulation, Giselle accused the nobles of cowardice and backhanded tactics before battle. Catalea feigned ignorance while her team scoffed. The arbiter ordered everyone to take positions. Despite rule changes, Giselle remained confident, rallying her allies with secret knowledge of her ability. Catalea's faction laughed smugly, but began speculating about Giselle's rumored past victory using a hidden power. Darius confidently dismissed the possibility of defeat, trusting their overwhelming power in the extermination-style duel. The duel officially began. Both teams moved from their starting positions, tension crackling across the battlefield. Cataleya's scouts pinpointed the orphan's location. Confident, she readied her magic to strike first. With devastating precision, Cataleya unleashed bombing magic, instantly erasing the forest area housing her enemies. Believing victory assured, Cataleya smiled, thinking her brother would praise her for crushing weaklings. Cataleya sensed something wrong, her magic vanished mid-air. Confusion spread among her team as explosions paused. The orphans launched a counterattack. Giselle's plan worked, her magic cancelled Cataleya's explosive spell. An immense magical shockwave expanded across the battlefield, erasing trees and shaking both sides. Cataleya's team struggled through the aftermath. Her magic failed, and uncertainty clouded her warriors' expressions. Shock hit the Richmond group. Giselle's unknown skill disrupted everything. Cataleya couldn't believe she was losing. Cataleya's team is shaken as their healer is knocked out, disabling their support capabilities instantly. Despite magical interference, Cataleya commands her allies to regroup and rely on melee combat strength. Spotting an approaching enemy, Cataleya loses composure and orders her subordinates to intercept them immediately. Following the plan, the classless boy charges forward, empowered by Giselle's successful magical interference. Spotting Cataleya's forces, he races through the forest, preparing for a surprise high-speed melee assault. Pavlov's team stands wary as Cross halts, summoning wind magic while everyone wonders why he's stalling. Cross channels focused wind incantations, weaving power around his spear while Giselle watches calmly from afar. In a flashback, Cross expresses doubts over victory. Giselle encourages him, trusting in his growing strength. Reciting incantations, Cross intensifies his spell, aiming to pierce enemies with devastating wind-based magical bombardment. Cross unleashes Triple Wind Lance, his advanced spell exploding forward with force, shocking allies and enemies alike. Cataleya's forces brace as Cross's group approaches through the trees, confusion and tension gripping the defenders. A sudden magical assault engulfs Cataleya's group, multiple tornadoes tearing through the formation and scattering everyone violently. Cataleya panics as her allies are flung aside by the chaotic storm, completely blindsided by the attack. Her warriors crawl from the wreckage, stunned by the speed and power of enemy wind magic. Realizing their vulnerability, Cataleya's team splits forces to hunt the hidden mages concealed throughout the forest. Cataleya readied her staff while the warrior warned her. Tension rose. They anticipated a surprise attack. Suddenly, Cross launched from the ground, using momentum and wind magic to close the distance instantly. Cross locked onto his target with precision. Cataleya, startled, realized she had miscalculated his position. Cross's strike neared Cataleya, but her comrade intercepted just in time, blocking the incoming deadly blow. A massive swordsman descends from above, startling the enemies. The classless boy charges in bravely. He strikes first, aiming for the neck, but the enemy blocks it with chilling precision. The mage mocks him, explaining his purpose is distraction. Darius is ordered to finish the job. Darius roars and slashes wide. The boy is flung away as power surges from his blade. The mage tumbles back in shock. The boy grits his teeth, stunned by overwhelming brute strength. The warrior orders a full retreat to protect Cataleya, underestimating the boy's true potential again. Darius now recognizes the boy's combat growth magic and melee skills beyond any ordinary classless fighter. The boy's arrival disrupts their command. Darius charges, declaring the classless as their highest threat. A full-powered assault begins. Warriors leap with skills activated. The boy braces, surrounded but unfazed. Dodging attacks swiftly, he taunts them. Their strength in defense fails against his evasive strategy. The battlefield shifts as a new wave approaches. Fellow orphans charge in with fierce determination. Darius realizes the classless boy delayed them intentionally, allowing his allies to regroup and attack. Pavlov is ordered to retreat while Darius prepares to stall the advancing orphans alone. The boy attempts to break through Darius's wall. Darius retaliates with overwhelming defensive force. The boy is knocked down mid-air. His allies scream, watching his fall with concern. Cross rises again. Allies rally behind him. He focuses on saving Cataleya and the group. Face to face, Cross confronts Darius. The air tenses as their duel is about to ignite. Cross charges forward, unleashing clear cut. Darius braces, activating powerful defensive and physical reinforcement skills. Cross's blade meets resistance. Darius blocks calmly, watching the boy's growing power with sharp awareness. Darius lunges fiercely. Cross barely escapes, rolling back using emergency evasion to avoid a brutal strike. Cross searches through smoke. A mentor's voice reminds him heavy warriors master defense and endurance. He spots Darius preparing a devastating attack, his one polished skill for a lethal finisher. Darius unleashes boulder drop, hurling massive debris from above. Cross braces beneath the falling rubble. The others scramble in panic, hearing Cross's scream. The group rushes forward, Catalea in front. Allies cast magic support. Fire and water blast outward, trying to break through Darius's front. Pavlov panics, their regrouping fails, casualties rise, and Catalea pleads for someone to act. The orphans press forward. Their command, "Don't let enemies recover," attacks swiftly from all angles. Frustrated, Catalea complains, magic reflection blocked their advantage. Pavlov finally realizes a tactical opportunity. The orphans vanish into the forest. Their enemies begin a scattered search, determined to retaliate. Aaron suggests they split up. Giselle grins, this might be their best chance to counterattack. Sensing hesitation, Giselle warns her team to stay alert. The enemy's silence feels too deliberate. Boulders suddenly rain down. Enemy mages initiate an ambush with overwhelming force and sealing magic. The bombardment crushes the battlefield. Screams echo as stone and shockwaves scatter the regrouping orphans. Survivors crawl from rubble. Giselle curses, checking on allies through clouds of dust and debris. She gasps in horror. Niccolo and Chiara are down. 2 members eliminated in a single strike. Giselle realizes their magic is being countered. She suspects the enemy has learned Lovely's limits. Pavlov and Catalea celebrate. They confirm Giselle's reflection magic can't be maintained without drawbacks. Catalea confirms Giselle can only reflect 2 spells. The enemy plans to overwhelm that weakness. They unleash simultaneous attacks from 3 angles. Magic circles activate with synchronized precision and intent. Giselle reacts with lovely magic, but it's too late. More boulders descend with deadly timing. Giselle braces as massive boulders crash down. Her defenses strain beneath the enemy's relentless bombardment. Exhausted, Giselle questions their stamina. Lovely magic drains mana quickly, and Cross hasn't returned yet. Meanwhile, Darius observes quietly. Despite the chaos, his property tag shows no status change. Cross finally reappears, determined. With sword drawn, he charges directly at Darius to settle everything. Cross launches a fierce double-bladed assault, aiming directly at Darius's chest with full force. Darius blocks calmly, his strength unshaken. Cross's strike fails to penetrate the warrior's massive defense. Darius counters with a powerful strike. Cross is knocked away, overwhelmed by sheer brute force. Darius declares his pride and duty. Fueled by resolve, he attacks again with greater speed. Darius activates Boulder Drop, tearing the cliff apart and unleashing a new rockfall toward Cross. Darius charges with Obstacle Charge, but Cross reacts instantly, escaping with an emergency evasion technique. Cross dodges again, countering midair with his own Obstacle Charge, closing the gap with precision. He slashes using Clear Cut, but Darius blocks the strike effortlessly with reinforced shield positioning. Darius's charge launches Cross midair. Cross realizes the move is offensive, not just for defense. Weakened, Cross understands. Darius's technique converts defense into attack, redirecting all pressure into one crushing blow. The enemy revealed its true nature, an intelligent rock lizard warrior with overwhelming magical presence. Acknowledging the classless fighter's reputation, the warrior warns of unmatched hybrid melee magic capability. Driven by guilt and urgency, the hero initiates a fierce charge to redeem past failures. The hero distances himself, begins a chant, preparing wind magic while evading the warrior's approach. The warrior lunges mid-chant, aiming a crushing blow at the hero's unguarded solar plexus. Cross recalls his mentor's warning, chanting draws attacks. He reads his enemy's strike intentions. Cross predicts the attack's angle and feints vulnerability. The warrior prepares to unleash his finisher. Cross launches a sudden counterattack mid-chant. His sword lands as the warrior is caught off guard. The massive warrior crashes hard. Cross stands above him, having predicted and reversed the finishing move. As the warrior struggles to rise, Cross calmly continues chanting. His trap was perfectly executed. Cross unleashes triple wind lance, overwhelming the armored warrior with a burst of concentrated wind magic. The wind spirals violently, launching the massive warrior skyward while Cross maintains full magical control. The storm tears through the battlefield, carving a deep path and hurling debris in every direction. Breathing heavily, Cross stares at the devastation, questioning whether the decisive blow was truly enough. To his shock, the enemy rises again, armored body cracked but still standing, eyes burning with rage. The boy's magic explodes forward. 3 wind lances tear through the lizard warrior's defenses. The spell launches the warrior skyward, spiraling uncontrollably in a tornado of sheer magical force. A massive trail of destruction is left behind, marking the spell's overwhelming impact across the battlefield. Exhausted and trembling, the boy watches the dust settle, unsure if victory was truly secured. From the smoke, the warrior emerges, still standing, his body now encased in solidified rock. Cross charges aggressively toward Darius, aiming to break through his defense with a powerful obstacle attack. Cross uses emergency evasion to quickly avoid Darius's counterattack and prepares to strike again immediately. Cross lunges with a clear-cut sword strike, trying to break through Darius's heavy armor defense. Cross realizes obstacle charge is a skill designed to catch and counter his evasive moves. Darius blocks Cross's attacks with thick defense, preparing to unleash a powerful boulder drop strike. Eren unleashes a powerful spell, but realizes an enemy ranger is directing a coordinated ambush strategy. The team gets surrounded. The enemy cleverly stays outside Eren's detection range while coordinating multi-directional attacks. Trapped and overpowered, Eren loses hope. Despite everyone's concern, she admits there's nothing they can do. Eren resists reckless action. She chooses to hold position and wait for Cross to arrive. A teammate steps forward, shouting defiantly, reminding Eren they're not the only ones risking everything to fight. Though hesitant, Eren agrees. Her allies, though nervous, vow to assist her however they can. Enemy forces coordinate barrage spells. With Cross still missing, relentless fire rains on Eren's trapped group. A mage launches his attack, but mid-cast, something disrupts the strike. He prepares to reposition immediately. Unexpectedly, the boulder rebounds. The mage panics, unsure if he can defend against his own magic. Eren's teammates ride the flying boulder directly at the enemy, risking everything in a desperate counterattack. An explosion tore through the forest as the cloaked man watched calmly from the shadows. Two warriors lay defeated amid rubble, their bodies bruised and breath shallow from the failed ambush. Their enemy mocked their failure, laughing cruelly, unaware the battle had not ended just yet. Suddenly, both warriors stood up with resolve, revealing their surprise strategy wasn't over at all. The enemy panicked as they advanced. They'd faked defeat, waiting for the perfect counterattack moment. After a brutal battle, he retrieved the tags of fallen comrades, honoring their sacrifice silently. With renewed determination, they prepared to fight again, remembering the comrades they had nearly lost before. Their allies confirmed the escape was successful, using magic to soften the fall for survival. Another squad emerged, using the chaos to launch a surprise attack while the enemy regrouped slowly. The enemy hesitated, confused by the orphans' sudden retreat, giving them time to prepare counterattacks. Yale and Vigo collapsed, causing panic. Sigurd realized they needed backup and signaled the others. Reinforcements arrived quickly. A mysterious girl led them, catching everyone off guard with her confident approach. The girl's team ambushed the nobles. She mocked them, revealing their mages were already defeated. The nobles were stunned. Moments ago, they had the advantage, now they faced complete reversal. The girl explained her plan. Using spell steal and tracking, she eliminated the mages one by one. The underdog team cornered the elite knight, sensing victory as the battle tide turned quickly. Pavlov urged Sigurd to escape with Catalea, hoping to regroup with Darius for defense. The knight activated his speed skill, determined to stop Catalea before she could safely escape. Using hurricane thrust, he launched a devastating attack, sending Sigurd and Pavlov flying through the air. Both warriors crashed violently, shattered weapons scattering, as the knight's overwhelming power halted their desperate escape attempt. Kori is wounded. The knight prepares for battle. The enemy seems strong and everyone is tense. The knight mocks the others, calling them weak. Suddenly, a massive beast crashes into the scene. The beast falls, slain in an instant. The knight is shocked, unsure who intervened so fast. A young man appears from swirling energy. He's smiling, sword in hand, surprising everyone completely. The knight demands answers. The group realizes the boy defeated Darius alone, despite being classless. Kai defeats the enemy using wind magic, shocking nearby soldiers who witnessed his unexpected power. A guard rushes to protect Catalea, urging her to escape before danger reaches them. A female warrior ambushes the fleeing group, cutting down the soldier with ruthless precision and speed. As panic spreads, Catalea and another soldier attempt to flee, while enemies close in quickly. Kai casts Triple Wind Lance, hoping his spell disrupts the enemy's attack and buys them time. The Flash Knight lunged through the whirlwind, aiming directly at the lone defender on the slope. He broke through the barrier with incredible speed, stunning his opponent before a counter could begin. The mage realized the Flash Knight could predict moves, dodging and attacking faster than they reacted. But a surprise spell turned the knight's attack against him, reflecting magic in all directions. Distracted by the reversal, the knight left his back open, giving the defender a clear strike. Cross counters the enemy's heavy strike using a sudden technique he learned from observation and training. The enemy retaliates, but Cross responds, instantly returning a counter with an even stronger counterattack. After the victory, Cross stands exhausted but proud, shocking everyone by defeating an intermediate-ranked knight. Cross reveals his success came from watching Pavlov's techniques during a gladiator tournament with Rion. Elsewhere, the enemy commander panics her elite knight lost to a mere orphan fighting in desperation. Catalea collapsed, exhausted. The forest hunt had turned brutal, and time was running out. Giselle and her team cornered Catalea. Their plan to overwhelm her had worked perfectly. Giselle mocked her fear. Catalea realized the forest rules made pain unavoidable, but death unlikely. With no mercy, Giselle launched a relentless attack. Catalea struggled to defend against the onslaught. Bruised and broken, Catalea lay defeated. Giselle stood over her, victorious and unchallenged. The match officially ends. The Richmond group is defeated. The orphan team claims a complete victory. Giselle restrains the terrified noble girl. The orphan team celebrates, having overcome status and fear. Catalea awakened under a tree, disoriented. Her allies stood nearby, watching her recovery silently. She panicked, remembering the duel. Darius confirmed their loss. Her thoughts raced to the orphans. Shocked by defeat, Catalea feared punishment. Darius offered unity. They'd bow together in atonement. Blaming her subordinates, Catalea demanded answers. They hesitated, but one stepped forward with devastating news. Embarrassed and confused, Catalea learned her undergarments were exposed, a final blow to her pride. Cross heard a scream in the distance. Instinctively, he turned toward it and froze, alert. From the hill, Cross saw both parties. His presence caused a shift in the atmosphere. A silent exchange between Darius and Cross followed, firm gazes recognizing strength and mutual respect. Cross bowed. Darius smiled in approval. The losing side accepted defeat with surprising grace. Catalea clenched her fists. Though humiliated, her resolve strengthened. She'd stand proud before her followers. Cross returned to the academy, snow fading behind him, memories rushing back stronger than ever. His three powerful masters welcomed him proudly, recognizing his growth and the battle he survived victoriously. Overwhelmed with emotion, Cross declared his return, finally feeling worthy of the place he once feared. Days later, battle resumed. Cross combined techniques, launching a devastating triple wind lance against monstrous creatures. Victory was theirs. Cross stood triumphant among allies, blade raised, having proven himself through strength and spirit. The contest concluded. 4 top parties, including Cross's, were summoned for public recognition and ranking. Cross's team placed 4th, after subjugating over 2,000 slimes, earning loud cheers and raised weapons. While his teammates celebrated, Cross quietly reflected on Catalea's absence and her mysterious withdrawal. Cross received a large prize pouch, overwhelmed by the reward and everyone's praise for him. Though urged to celebrate, Cross declined. He already had a meaningful plan for the money. The quiet town settled into evening as Cross approached the area with something important planned. He had bought a special item, nervously hoping his masters would appreciate the thoughtful gesture. Unexpectedly, he ran into Lyudmila, catching him off guard with her sudden, radiant appearance. Flustered, Cross struggled to speak, gathering courage to request a private moment to explain himself. He thanked her sincerely, crediting her training for his team's success and improved performance overall. Cross reflected on the victory, crediting Lyudmila and his orphanage friends for their support. Lyudmila calmly explained that the outcome was certain, emphasizing the importance of strategic teamwork. She revealed her original intent to train Cross into someone capable of defeating corrupt nobles entirely. Blushing and nervous, Cross presented his handmade gift, unsure if it matched her elite status. Though uncertain if sweets were enough, he sincerely wanted to express his deep gratitude to her. Lyudmila was touched by Cross's heartfelt gift. Unexpectedly overwhelmed by emotion and pride in him, she thanked Cross warmly, expressing how lucky she felt to have such a dedicated pupil. Suddenly, Telemia burst in, tackling Cross with affection, surprising both him and Lyudmila with excitement. Telemia showered Cross with praise while a jealous rival intervened, yanking her off with irritation. Embarrassed but flattered, the rival accepted the gift, hiding her flustered feelings behind a forced grin. Tension erupted as the girls fiercely argued over who Cross's heartfelt present was truly for. Cross panicked, trying to calm everyone down by offering to buy more gifts quickly. To ease conflict, he organized a grand feast under moonlight, filled with desserts and tea. Laughter and cream-covered faces followed, as the group let loose and shared sweets and joy. Later that night, Cross slept peacefully, unaware his growth impressed even the highest-ranking instructors again. Despite having zero base stats, Cross's skills have skyrocketed, revealing rapid and extensive ability growth. His stats document in multiple languages confirms the impressive surge in strength and magical capabilities. Instructors analyze his development, stunned by his progress, while a mysterious skill Cinderella Grey remains unclear. Each master reflects inwardly, proud and protective, realizing their once classless apprentice now outshines even nobles. Cross humbly credits his strength to his friend's support, knowing his true power lies in unity. Cross reflects on his dream to become a heroic adventurer, realizing he's still far off. Despite fatigue, Cross declines rest, choosing to continue training out of gratitude toward his mentors. With renewed determination, Cross heads to training, ready to improve under his teacher's steady guidance. A lavish ballroom hosts a grand event, filled with guests and a towering mansion in the distance. The crowd gasps as a powerful figure strides into the ballroom, all eyes on her. A young lady dressed in a sparkling gown steps forward surrounded by imposing figures. Onlookers whisper about Alicia Lafagalion, a remarkable hero's descendant with a mysterious collected demeanor. A masked figure steps forward with an intimidating presence, setting the stage for an intense confrontation. As tensions rise, the factions begin discussing their competition, anticipating fierce power struggles among the elite. A dinner gathering of the noble families is held, where three powerful factions converge. Amidst the festivity, one member senses hidden conflict behind the smiles. As the power struggle begins, Alicia's name is whispered as the power dynamics shift and the focus turns to her legacy. A confident young man introduces himself, revealing his identity as Gimlet Waldrea, the fourth son of Disgrave. A young man bows, requesting to be remembered, sparking whispers and curiosity among the onlookers. Gimlet Waldrea's smile sends a chill down Alicia's spine as the moonlit night intensifies their tension. Outside, the magnificent mansion stands tall as the sound of distant conflict begins to echo. Inside the arena, a fierce battle ensues as skilled warriors clash with enhanced weapons and abilities. A determined fighter, confident in her power, enhances her skills with a grin, preparing for victory. A powerful strike from the warrior sends her opponent flying, unleashing a storm of action and chaos. The young fighter pushes forward, struggling as he faces his opponent with desperation and forceful strikes. Confident in her abilities, the woman faces the incoming attack with a confident smirk, ready to counter. Teaming up, the two warriors unleash their combined might in a powerful move, Triple Wind Lance. The ground trembles as a massive destructive force erupts, sending dust and debris flying through the air. Out of breath, the warrior stands amidst the storm of battle, struggling to catch his breath. Proud of her progress, the young mage celebrates her success, now more powerful than before. Her mentor praises her for improving her magic and combat skills, noting her growing confidence. Alicia calls out to Rion, ready to demonstrate a new technique to her improving disciple. The two women prepare to show their skills, while the bewildered Cross stands caught in the middle. Cross eagerly watches as two skilled adventurers prepare for a duel, thrilled to see them fight. Lyudmila demonstrates wind magic's subtle power. Using it strategically to move without causing destruction, Lyudmila performs a graceful leap, launching herself with incredible agility as her opponent looks on. The two warriors clash in an intense battle, each determined to land a powerful blow. The magic-wielding Lyudmila soars through the air, unleashing an attack as her opponent is knocked back. The two powerful fighters clash in a fierce battle, their weapons creating sparks and explosive impacts. Lyudmila uses wind magic to demonstrate its versatility in combat, leaving Cross in awe of her strength. Alicia advises Rion on handling various class skills, emphasizing the importance of learning to adapt in battle. After a successful mission, Cross and Telemea share a quiet moment, discussing plans for the Magic Bazaar. Cross proudly shows his status plate, amazed by how far he's come since gaining his skills. Telemea is frustrated by the constant regeneration of her skills, screaming in both annoyance and disbelief. Telemea expresses her frustration over not being able to train Cross despite taking him as a disciple. Lyudmila argues with Telemea, emphasizing the importance of not letting others take up too much of Cross's training. They discuss the necessity of a dark priest's recovery skills to ensure Cross's safety on dangerous quests. In a moment of excitement, Telemea hugs Cross, happily agreeing that his life is the top priority. Cross panics as he realizes recovery magic is being used on him, questioning the situation's meaning. The villain taunts Cross, showing a picture of the Disgrave family and accusing them of disgrace. A sinister figure looms over the scene, sitting on a throne surrounded by fallen enemies. A woman frantically pleads for forgiveness, terrified of punishment for her failure to predict the fight. A brave man, battered and bruised, pleads for his friend to run away as the punishment escalates. Gimlet Waldrea stands firm, holding his sword, demanding accountability from his cousin for the disgrace caused. After a long meeting, a woman thanks Gimlet for his hard work as she exits. Gimlet orders his subordinates to investigate the orphans who supposedly defeated Catalea, suspecting their involvement. The orphans, including Cross, are now under investigation, with the importance of their role highlighted. Cross agrees to start his training with Telomea, who will teach him restoration magic for healing. Rion warns Telomea to avoid making suspicious moves with Cross, giving her a stern reminder. The training quickly escalates into an awkward moment as Cross is forced into a compromising position. Cross, overwhelmed and embarrassed, tries to understand the strange proper training Telomea insists on teaching him. Telomea defends her methods, explaining recovery magic as an important skill, while the group remains uneasy. Telomea instructs Cross on restoration magic, encouraging him to focus on feeling the magic during their practice. Cross, embarrassed, struggles with the awkward position, while Telomea insists on continuing the exercise. Lyudmila, concerned, warns Telomea not to take things too far, but Telomea defends her methods. The group debates whether Cross should be trained by Telomea, as she defends recovery magic's importance. Cross's training becomes a topic of concern among the group, with some doubting if the methods will work. Tensions rise as the group argues, each one fiercely protective of Cross and his training. Cross, exhausted from his tough training, receives concerned glances as he struggles to stay awake. After the intense training, a conversation arises about taking a break, with Cross considering a visit to the arms store. At the arms store, the group marvels at the impressive quality of the weapons displayed. The group, now in the arms store, discusses the quality of the items, noting the store's reputation. Giselle argues with the others as they tease her about her interest in Cross, creating tension. Giselle, greeted by an arms dealer, recalls her reputation and past victories in her adventures. Cross meets Giselle's favorite arms dealer, a dwarven woman who expresses interest in Cross's abilities. Giselle and Cross discuss the upcoming festival preparations, where they plan to engage in a contest. The combat festival begins with fierce 1v1 matches across the city, showcasing its chaotic nature. Cross and Giselle discuss the importance of being properly prepared for the festival's combat challenges. Cross struggles to choose a weapon from the high-quality swords at the store, seeking advice. After hesitating, Cross trusts Giselle's choice, believing the design will suit him best in the end. Cross thanks Giselle with a smile, feeling that the sword now truly fits his character. The arms dealer and the others remark on Giselle's skills, teasing her for her poor decision-making. Cross buys a sword and is taught how to maintain it by the weapons dealer Giselle. Giselle polishes the sword, impressing Cross with her skill as the blade shines brilliantly. Giselle explains to Cross that daily weapon maintenance can extend its lifetime, even without skills. Cross is surprised when his sword begins to shine, realizing it has magical properties. Cross's status plate reveals that he has learned the basic polishing skill after using his sword. Cross receives praise for his talent, but he hesitates at Giselle's offer to nurture it. Cross walks through the city reflecting on his new skills and the potential consequences. As Cross learns about the upcoming combat festival, he realizes it's a good chance to gain experience. At dinner, the group talks about the combat festival, with some concern about safety. After some discussion, they consider using guard-out magic to stay safe while participating in the festival. Cross is running late, but his friends urge him to hurry for the packed opening ceremony. The group rushes toward the festival, discussing how a past incident cleared space for the event. The ceremony is in full swing, with an overwhelming crowd arriving for the combat festival. The opening ceremony begins, with excitement filling the air as the competition is about to start. The battle begins with powerful wind magic, sending swirling tornadoes as the contestants prepare for combat. The opening address begins as Alicia Lafagalion, the hero's descendant, steps up to the stage. Alicia makes her grand entrance, dazzling the crowd with her elegant appearance and radiant aura. The crowd watches in awe as Alicia captivates them with her stunning presence and confidence. Cross senses something different about Alicia from their last meeting as she introduces herself formally. Alicia Lafagalion, standing tall, talks about the world's near collapse and how her ancestors saved it. Cross notices Alicia's unusual mood during her speech. While the crowd is in high spirits, Alicia speaks solemnly about her duty to protect the world as the heroes prepare for battle. The crowd cheers for the hero's challenge, and Cross continues to worry about Alicia's mood. Alicia watches Cross as he notices her serious demeanor, feeling concerned as the competition begins. Alicia waves at the crowd, radiating a warm smile that captivates everyone around her, especially Cross. Cross, embarrassed, wonders if Alicia smiled and waved at him as the crowd cheers. Cross wonders about Alicia's actions, confused by the smile, and questions whether he's imagining things. Cross's friends notice Alicia's interaction with him, and they tease him about their connection. Alicia playfully pulls Cross in front of the crowd, leaving him embarrassed as everyone laughs. A combatant enhances their agility before performing a quick strike, demonstrating powerful skill during the festival. The crowd roars as a participant wins another match, while the combat festival rages on in full swing. Priests are actively assisting injured fighters, their work contributing to the lively festival atmosphere. Giselle swings her sword fiercely, rallying everyone with her confidence and energy as the battles continue. Cross, now encouraged, contemplates stepping into a fight, drawing inspiration from Giselle's bravery and strength. The crowd cheers for the powerful dwarf who continues his winning streak in the combat festival. The massive dwarf enthusiastically challenges others, confidently boasting about his undefeated streak and unmatched strength. Cross and his friend observe the dwarf, who towers over them, expressing hesitation about challenging him. The dwarf notices Cross and asks about his recent victory, mentioning his win against a noble. The dwarf, intrigued by Cross's potential, offers a challenge, daring him to test his strength. The dwarf laughs after Cross challenges him, and Cross feels a bit intimidated but excited. Cross nervously explains he's new to picking fights, but confidently assures the dwarf he won't hold back. The crowd watches excitedly as Cross, a classless fighter, prepares to face a level 33 dwarf. Cross's friends comment on how dangerous it is to fight the dwarf, whose level is much higher. Cross, feeling nervous but determined, realizes he would have backed out before, but now he's ready to fight. Cross gets excited, feeling determined for the upcoming battle despite the large gap in strength. The dwarf prepares for the fight, charging with a powerful swing that shakes the ground. Cross realizes the dwarf is using an overpowering skill, a signature heavy warrior move. As the battle intensifies, Cross is struck, but he remains unfazed, feeling confident in his abilities. Cross compares the intense battle pressure to Ryon, realizing his growth and how far he's come. Cross gets into position as the dwarf charges at him with his massive weapon, looking intense. The dwarf swings his weapon with great force, sending shockwaves through the ground. Cross activates his physical and weapon enhancements, preparing for the fierce clash with the dwarf. The dwarf uses a powerful defensive skill, reinforcing his armor and clothing to withstand any blow. The battle intensifies, as Cross and the dwarf clash in a flurry of powerful attacks. Cross strikes with all his strength, as the dwarf charges forward with overwhelming force and power. Crowd gasps in shock, witnessing the intense battle between the classless Cross and the powerful dwarf. Cross feels the adrenaline rush as his body feels lighter, unlocking a new fighting style to match. Dwarf recognizes Cross's abilities, finally acknowledging the power of the classless as he faces the rising threat. As Cross disappears in a graceful leap, the dwarf roars, realizing he has lost sight of his opponent. Cross, with swift agility, evades the dwarf's attack and positions himself high above, gaining an advantage. Leaping down with precision, Cross performs a powerful aerial cross counter, striking the dwarf midair. Spectators are left in awe as they witness Cross not only countering, but using magic skills. Cross is forced to heal the dwarf, who now demands urgent healing after the intense battle. Despite his wounds, Dwarf praises Cross's skill and invites him for a rematch. Impressed by the fight, Cross, realizing the thrill of fighting, is determined to make his upcoming battles more enjoyable. Meanwhile, a mysterious watches Cross's fight and is intrigued, predicting his potential usefulness for someone named Gimlet. Woman dressed provocatively walks confidently, hinting that her master, Gimlet, would be pleased with Cross's abilities. Cross defeats 10 opponents in a row, shocking everyone. His skill and power are undeniable. Cross is observed by mysterious figures, impressed by his growing combat skills and enthusiasm for fighting. The women discuss Cross, noting that pushing him in battle will be beneficial for his growth. The women plan around Cross, dismissing a threat and preparing him for more intense training. Cross reaches a 13-win streak, exhausted but determined, ready for a much-needed break afterward. After a tough battle, Cross and others are rewarded with food and recovery potions for their efforts. Cross surprises everyone, revealing that he has learned a recovery skill, shocking the others. Cross performs the skill, healing a wounded ally, despite Giselle's concerns about its direct contact. Cross confidently tells the group he can heal even broken bones, impressing everyone with his abilities. The group agrees that Cross should practice his healing skills, even if it causes confusion. Cross heals Giselle during a break from fighting. She appreciates his service and gets back into the fight. The royal court applauds Cross and Giselle's excellent teamwork, recognizing their strength despite being newcomers. The noblewoman praises Cross for his skills, remarking that his magical abilities are unmatched by others. Cross introduces himself to the nobles, encountering Rihanna Moblina, the eldest daughter of a powerful faction. Cross and his group realize that the noble visitors, Rihanna and Gadruk, are heirs to powerful domains. Rihanna Moblina invites Cross and his friends to join her faction, appealing to their potential. Gadruk and Rihanna argue over which faction Cross should join, both eager to recruit him. Cross reflects on how the nobles' attention might restore the orphanage's honor, but worries about joining. Rihanna insists joining her faction is crucial for their futures, but Cross is unsure of the decision. Giselle, frustrated, reveals her anger at Cataleya's party, defending Cross's group against their insults. The three king powers, divided into factions, are led by descendants of the hero's party. Rihanna encourages Cross to join her faction for security, but he prefers not to be used. Giselle plans to convince Cross to join her faction, hoping to improve the orphanage's future. Disgruntled, Rihanna reacts to the appearance of a notable figure while Cross notices the crowd's tension. A proud noble, Gimlet-Walled Rhea from the Disgrave family, makes his dramatic entrance at the event. Cross and Giselle look at Gimlet-Walled Rhea, the Disgrave family's fourth son, and wonder about his background. The group is surprised to see a high-ranking noble, possibly related to the Duke's family. Gimlet approaches Cross, questioning if he's the classless who defeated the powerful noble, Cataleya. Gimlet, in a bold move, asks Cross if he would be willing to join his faction. Gimlet reveals that despite his grudge for defeating his cousin, he holds Cross in high regard. Lord Gimlet-Walled Rhea, a high-ranking noble, surprises others by personally recruiting commoners for his faction. Despite Cross's hesitation, Gimlet continues speaking to him, disregarding interruptions from his companions, including Giselle. Cross is conflicted, torn between joining the faction but unsure about Gimlet's treatment of Giselle. Cross reflects on his hesitation to join, thinking about Gimlet's behavior and the pressure to decide. Gimlet reassures Cross, promising that joining his faction will distance him from Cataleya's influence, easing his worries. Gimlet offers to make Cataleya publicly bow, hoping it will appease Cross's hesitation to join. Cross, confused and concerned, questions Gimlet's proposal and the idea of punishing Cataleya for him. Cross refuses to become Gimlet's subordinate, expressing his strong resistance to joining under such conditions. The crowd is shocked by Cross's bold rejection of a high-ranking noble's offer right in front. Cross calmly explains his refusal to join, suggesting a duel for a more secure agreement. Gimlet accepts Cross's decision to refuse his offer and hints at one last thing to say. Gimlet expresses his hope that Cross won't regret turning down his offer, getting closer to him. Gimlet gives Cross a chance to change his mind, offering a place for future discussions. Cross, still unsure, reflects on his encounter with Gimlet while preparing for the next day's tournament. Cross, exhausted and overwhelmed by the fights, sits down during the combat festival, acknowledging his defeat. Aaron is seen badly injured, asking for help, revealing that the orphans are in danger. Giselle and others are injured too, as they discuss being attacked unexpectedly, fearing for their lives. Cross learns that a black-haired woman, a member of Gimlet's faction, led the surprise attack. Cross wonders why they attacked the orphans, while Giselle offers him recovery medicine in distress. Cross, realizing the severity of the situation, runs after Giselle as she struggles to recover. Giselle follows closely, worried about the situation as Cross repeats his impulsive actions. Cross charges ahead as Giselle and others shout, worried about his reckless behavior, running towards danger. Giselle scolds Cross for his impulsive actions, reminding him that running without proof only causes trouble. Cross stands before a grand building, determined to uncover the truth, yet unaware of the dangers. Guard confronts Cross, demanding identification, blocking his way to investigate, but Cross's decision stands firm. Cross evades a direct attack, calculating his next move, aware that his resistance could lead to consequences. Cross storms into the grand room, facing a well-dressed nobleman, defiant in front of the gathered crowd. Cross faces armed guards, his fury intensifying as he yells to defend his actions with certainty. Cross counters attacks, narrowly avoiding strikes as he skillfully evades the guard's efforts to restrain him. Cross continues to fight back, causing a commotion as he knocks away another opponent. Cross challenges the noble with bold words, demanding a one-on-one duel, defying the noble's authority. Cross challenges Gimlet with a high-stakes duel, offering to do whatever he asks if he loses. Cross stands boldly, demanding Gimlet become his subordinate, throwing down a challenge that shocks the nobles. Nobles gasp as they witness the audacity of Cross challenging Gimlet, the heir of a duke. Cross insists despite the absurdity of the situation, knowing this may be his only option. Gimlet accepts the challenge, mocking Cross, knowing the power dynamic is vastly tilted in his favor. Cross demands a duel and Gimlet agrees, intrigued by Cross's boldness, setting the stage. Cross prepares, knowing the odds are against him, but insists on the fairness of the duel. Gimlet reveals his true power, showing Cross that he's a highly skilled level 50 swordsman. Despite Gimlet's boastful words, Cross is determined, but the overwhelming odds cause him to hesitate. After a shocking display of strength, Cross is thrown aside, cursing Gimlet for his arrogance. Giselle is furious at Cross for challenging such a powerful noble while suffering from injuries. Cross apologizes for his rash actions, but Giselle is concerned about the consequences of his challenge. Cross, though facing immense odds, swears to push through for the sake of his pride. Determined, Cross vows to continue despite the challenge ahead, with Giselle supporting him emotionally. A new character observes, criticizing Cross's actions, calling his challenge reckless and thoughtless. Cross gets scolded for not assessing his opponent's power before offering life-and-death stakes in the duel. Cross is reminded to be more cautious and focus on survival, just like past experiences. Despite the scolding, the others acknowledge Cross's decision, showing faith in his future growth. The training begins, with encouragement from his mentors to improve for the upcoming duel challenge. Cross expresses gratitude toward his mentors, acknowledging his immaturity and promising to do his best. The three mentors discuss the situation, showing concern over Cross's hasty decision to challenge a noble. The mentors feel conflicted about Cross's duel but acknowledge that his growth is necessary. Cross's growth rate for skills is analyzed, with his intermediate skills showing slower progress than expected. Despite his current weakness, Cross's mentors worry that 10 days is too short for him to improve. The group discusses the duel's logistics, knowing that delaying the duel could cast doubt on its legitimacy. The mentors agree to find a way to delay the duel, hoping for a chance to train. The mentors joke about creating a big incident to delay the duel, leveraging a nearby forest. The mentors continue their plan to delay the duel, excited by their scheming under the moonlight. Cross bursts into the room excitedly, shouting that the duel has been postponed, making the mentors nervous. A notice explains the temporary closure of the school due to a major road collapse, offering a chance to delay the duel. With the school closure, Cross realizes he has plenty of time for intensive training. Giselle jokes about the closure, while the others remark on the dangerous abyssal sea of trees. Cross, furious, shouts for the culprits who orchestrated the accident that delayed the duel. Cross is carried away by his teacher while arguing about the legitimacy of the road collapse. The teachers discuss the aftermath of the collapse, acknowledging it's a fortunate accident for their training. Cross is puzzled by his teacher's cryptic comments but decides to focus on his training for now. Cross and his teachers start the intense training for the upcoming duel against a high-ranked opponent. One of the teachers enthusiastically proposes using strong recovery magic for a war of attrition. Teacher with a big smile advises Cross on how to approach strong enemies, making him nervous. Cross wonders about attacking an opponent's weak points, as his teacher hints at more advanced tactics. The group is interrupted by a massive bird diving toward them, catching everyone off guard. Cross identifies the creature as a gigantofalcon, a level 40 specialized flying monster. The Dark Priest teacher casts a spell, using speed down burst to slow the giant bird. Cross and the others react in shock, as the powerful bird still charges forward, undeterred. Cross enhances his weapon and physical abilities in preparation, nervously agreeing to finish off the monster. Cross learns that lowering an enemy's abilities can help him beat even high-level monsters. Cross is caught off guard when his teacher gives him an unexpected and awkward training lesson. Cross protests, but his teachers insist on pushing him to train and handle everything himself. The teacher gives Cross a countermeasure against the quick flash swordsman and encourages him to train hard. Cross practices with his sword, eager to improve, but his technique causes an unexpected explosion. The explosion proves the effectiveness of Cross's training, demonstrating how lowering the enemy's abilities works. Cross, startled, receives an unexpected lesson, leading to a chaotic but amusing moment during training. Cross hesitates but follows his teacher's instructions, ready to improve his sword skills with precision. Cross starts training for a new skill, though he's uncertain, wondering if this is truly necessary. Lyudmila helps Cross focus, guiding him to activate the healing magic while encouraging his effort. Cross feels overwhelmed as he struggles to control the magic, almost at his limit. With intense concentration, Cross barely manages to activate the recovery spell, restoring his energy. Cross breathes heavily after the intense training session, feeling a rush of relief from the healing. Lyudmila explains the limitations of the magic and reveals their goal: improving the skill's timing for combat. Cross struggles with the sensation of magic endurance, but must adjust to it for his training. A giant falcon appears, drawing attention. Its speed and power are overwhelming, alarming Cross. Cross prepares for a battle, facing the monstrous beast and its intimidating speed and power. Cross uses the speed down spell to slow the giant creature's movement, giving him an edge. The creature charges, but Cross steals himself, focusing on his speed and preparing to face it head-on. Cross continues his training, but there's a mysterious feeling in the air as he wonders. The group debates over finding the best training location, with Cross wondering about the mysterious hole. Cross is taken away by a sudden shift in the plan as Lyudmila borrows him. Carrying a large pack, Cross ponders the strange lack of monsters as he continues his journey. Suddenly, a massive black dragon appears before them, striking terror into Cross and showing its immense power. The black dragon roars fiercely, baring its terrifying teeth, preparing for a devastating attack. Cross struggles to escape, realizing that the overwhelming power of the dragon might be too much. Desperate, Cross decides to leap, using the forest as cover to escape the dragon's pursuit. The black dragon chases Cross relentlessly, causing destruction as it flies above him through the trees. As Cross tries to climb a cliff to escape, the dragon's attack splits the ground beneath him. A monster, sensing a human child nearby, confronts the child, suspecting they've gotten lost in the area. Women who were observing the monster cheer as Cross successfully captures the beast, praising his skills. Monster screams in shock as more figures appear on the horizon, seemingly to confront it. A fierce, horned female demon charges forward, questioning whether the lost child was part of a trap. Group of women finds the mysterious child, realizing she's the one known as the Black Dragon. The Black Dragon, reacting to Cross's confusion, explains that she is not an imitation demon. She declares herself as Salte Basquadia, the true demon king who controls all the monsters. Cross, shocked by Salte's claim as the demon king, is praised for his respectful attitude towards her. Cross and the group learn of the original demon king, a terrifying force against humanity. Salte angrily confronts the group, blaming humans for not delivering a fatal blow to the previous demon king. After the argument, Cross and the group ask who Salte is, eager to understand the situation. Process of how the strongest monster, or race, becomes the demon king after the previous one dies. The group explains Salte's single twisted horn, indicating her special status as a demon king. They discuss how the state and guild monitor Salte, ensuring she doesn't act recklessly. Salte angrily defends herself, challenging the group for belittling her strength, demonstrating her power. Salte releases a powerful attack, the world's beginning, demolishing Tusk, causing massive destruction around her. Cross is thrown by the force of the attack, barely managing to avoid being crushed. Cross struggles to regain composure after Salte's attack, visibly injured and in pain from the blast. The group surveys the massive crater left behind, shocked by the destruction caused by Salte. Salte mockingly laughs at Cross and the group, warning them that underestimating her has consequences. The group prepares to face the threat with powerful magic and skills like Supreme Ice Prison. The ground shakes as a powerful destructive attack erupts, unleashing a massive wave of devastation. The massive destruction caused by Salte's power is visible, leaving a vast, scarred landscape behind. Cross, shocked and trembling, realizes the true extent of the Demon King's power after witnessing the chaos. The group discusses how a Demon King can be manipulated by sweets, likening Salte to a pet. The group acknowledges that despite Salte's one horn, her power as a Demon King remains undeniable. They arrive at a mysterious hole which is deemed perfect for Cross's upcoming training. Cross is tasked with conquering a dungeon alone, preparing for his next stage of training. The dungeon is described as dangerous, filled with endless monsters unless the dungeon core is destroyed. Cross is informed that solo expeditions are forbidden, so the training involves a dangerous approach. Cross is told no attack magic is allowed in the dungeon, only melee and black magic skills. Cross encounters a strong monster as he proceeds, his training proving challenging with monsters at level 30. Cross uses his intermediate weapon enhancement skill to slow down the monster, striking it with precision. As more monsters approach, Cross prepares for the challenge, using his quick reflexes to defend himself. Cross successfully defeats several monsters without attack magic, feeling more confident about his progress. After defeating many monsters, Cross is surprised to find a strange object in the dungeon. The object begins to move ominously, and Cross reacts with shock as it approaches him. Cross is attacked by the mysterious object, which whaps him repeatedly, catching him off guard. After being struck, Cross struggles with the pain, realizing the object's power as he moves. Cross faces a strange furry monster with sharp fangs, feeling anxious as it approaches. The creature is identified as a spring hopper, a dangerous, high-level speed-focused monster. Cross is overwhelmed by the spring hopper's incredible speed, realizing just how fast it truly is. Cross uses speed down to counter the spring hopper's fast movements, making it a perfect training partner. Cross's status screen shows his impressive growth, revealing his skills in various areas like combat and magic. Cross, frustrated by the challenge of using the speed debuff properly, receives encouragement from Telemea. Telemea explains that using weakening skills, like speed debuff, requires hitting the enemy, which is difficult. A humorous page shows how few people choose the Dark Priest class due to its drawbacks. Cross is informed by Telemea that she has taught him a trick to handle black magic skills. Cross is urged to remember a previous lesson with Telemea, which was important for his training. Cross, now completing his magic transfer training, realizes it's time to test his new abilities. Cross thanks Telemea for her help, feeling ready to face the challenges ahead with new skills. Cross encounters another creature, a spring hopper, in the dungeon, realizing this will be another challenge. Cross faces Telemea, who smiles seductively while teasing him, hinting mysterious plan or challenge ahead. A strange round creature appears, its menacing movements showing it is ready to attack. Cross prepares to face the creature with an attack, invoking a powerful and mysterious technique. In a dramatic moment, Cross struggles as his weapon clashes, and the creature moves swiftly. Later, Cross sits down for a chess match, trying to calm himself after the battle. Cross, having played a tough game, faces a confident opponent who's prepared for the challenge. In the middle of a tense chess match, Cross struggles to move while being distracted. A strange, menacing creature rushes toward him, while Cross ponders its power and speed. The creature hurls a fast attack, but Cross gets ready to intercept it despite the odds. Just as the creature advances, Cross activates his evasive technique to slow it down. Cross prepares for the next attack, focusing on predicting the timing and intercepting the creature. Cross struggles against the intense pressure of the battle, using emergency evasion and body hardening. Cross faces multiple attacks, but reflects on how strength also includes using underhanded tactics effectively. The conversation continues as they discuss how good people tend to hurt their own success. Cross realizes the importance of understanding the enemy's behavior and tactics to overcome challenges. With a sharp move, Cross counters the creature's speed, executing a skillful and decisive strike. Cross feels conflicted as he faces a creature, but a small voice urges him to embrace darker tactics. Cross, enhancing his sword skill, prepares for a critical strike while reflecting on his approach. Exhausted yet determined, Cross continues his battle, smiling triumphantly as he begins to understand his abilities. Cross, having mastered his method, celebrates his victory, but remains aware of the cost of his tactics. As he reflects on his journey, Cross's past struggles at the orphanage shape his determined spirit. Telemera is determined to keep Cross to herself as they prepare for another challenge. Cross fights through exhaustion while his team provides support, each using their skills to aid him. After 2 weeks of brutal training, Cross is visibly drained, yet he continues to push forward. Cross continues his arduous journey, climbing stairs lined with fallen creatures, his determination unwavering despite the fatigue. Upon reaching a mysterious chamber, Cross discovers a glowing orb, signaling the next phase of his journey. Cross finds an orb in the dungeon, shocked by its importance in his journey's progress. Telemera hugs Cross, praising his achievement, but his exhausted state makes him nervous and surprised. Cross conquers the dungeon faster than expected, with Telemera praising his unexpected growth in skills. A skill growth screen shows Cross's rapid development, his abilities growing exponentially during his journey. Telemera congratulates Cross for completing his training's second step, noting his advancement into an elite class. Telemera announces the start of Cross's final training stage, exciting him but also causing confusion. A bright light emanates from the orb, creating an intense atmosphere as both react in shock. Cross faces a daunting trial. Telemera encourages him, but he's unsure about the mysterious phenomenon. A massive dungeon boss is created, catching both off guard and signaling a true test for Cross. Cross faces the Spring Fighter, a powerful level 42 creature, knowing it's his final test. Cross prepares for the fight, pushing his limits, determined to use everything he has to win. As the battle intensifies, Cross is surprised by the creature's unexpected power and quickness. The monster's speed overwhelms Cross, making him struggle to even land a hit on it. Realizing the monster's incredible speed, Cross wonders how he can overcome the overwhelming challenge ahead. Cross summons all his energy and attempts a powerful move to counter the overwhelming monster. Cross fears the monster's powerful strike, realizing it could kill him in an instant. Telemera stops the battle just in time, preventing Cross from facing certain death. Cross struggles as the powerful monster fights back, his efforts seemingly futile against its strength. Cross is left in shock after narrowly escaping the monster's attack. Realizing the fight isn't easy, Cross panics, realizing the monster's speed and strength are overwhelming, leaving no room for tricks. Telemera reveals the final stage of Cross's training, aimed at learning to strike first against a stronger opponent. Cross learns that the recovery skills he has trained in are vital for facing stronger enemies, forming the basis of his next steps. Telemera unveils a dangerous skill from an ancient race that involves blood manipulation, raising Cross's concern. Cross feels nervous as Telemera introduces a powerful new skill, leaving him with uneasy thoughts. Telemera teases Cross about an off-board tactic, playfully suggesting he could retaliate with a similar move. Cross, feeling nervous, wins his first chess match and excitedly calls Rion and Lyudmila to celebrate. Cross faces a tough challenge: the dungeon, encountering an overwhelming opponent, no Life King's death skill. Telemera explains a dangerous tactic Cross needs to learn, designed to weaken opponents drastically. Cross learns the dark magic skill that makes the enemy's attack deadly for the user. Cross is horrified, realizing the risks of using such a tactic and how it works. Cross realizes his recovery skills are vital to survive, making him aware of his weaknesses. Telemera explains that her race has high recovery abilities, making them resilient to mortal injuries. Cross struggles with the idea of taking a hit, as Telemera urges him to practice it. Cross realizes he must not rely on his instincts, but on calculated tactics in battle. Cross, now overwhelmed, questions his decisions as he faces Telemera, who watches silently, waiting. Cross continues his harsh training, breathing heavily, while Telemera observes from afar, questioning his progress. Saikyou teases Cross about his struggles with the dungeon boss and questions if his training helped. Cross, feeling exhausted from constant battles, confesses that the others are out of town, leaving him alone. Saikyou presses Cross about his isolation, smirking, suggesting that he's now completely alone without his masters. Cross nervously realizes that Saikyou sees his vulnerability, and she seems pleased by his predicament. Cross, now exhausted and on high alert, realizes Saikyou has been watching him closely from afar. Saikyou, now in an aggressive stance, teases Cross and boasts about her power over him. Cross, struggling in a tough spot, fears the consequences of his defeat as Saikyou mocks him. Saikyou, now enraged, reveals her true identity as the Demon King, showing her ruthless nature. Cross, realizing the misunderstanding, nervously tries to explain as Saikyou gets more furious and destructive. Saikyou continues her attack with unrestrained fury, while Cross fears the wrath of his master. Saikyou reveals the threat of the Demon King's succession, warning that Cross can't afford her death. Cross, realizing the gravity of the situation, begins understanding Saikyou's dangerous role in this world. Saikyou finally shows her true, terrifying nature as she prepares to unleash her destructive power. Cross faces Saikyou's wrath, trying to defend himself against her overwhelming strength and rage. In a climactic moment, Saikyou unleashes a terrifying fiery blast, proving her might as the Demon King. Cross realizes the imminent danger as Saikyou prepares for another attack, and he braces for impact. Cross is tossed around by the mighty blow, feeling hopeless as he is overpowered. Saikyou reveals her dangerous intent, speaking about sending all humans to the other side, mocking Cross. With determination, Cross gathers his resolve, thinking about the people who depend on him. A flash of memories inspires Cross to keep fighting. realizing he can't die and must protect. Cross, with sheer determination, makes a graceful leap to avoid Saltia's massive attack. Knowing the risks, Cross, gritting his teeth, understands that true determination beyond courage is necessary to survive this battle. Cross fiercely decides to fight, thinking that his survival is the key to saving everyone. With a burst of energy, Cross charges at Saltia, vowing to fight even if it means death. Saltia, caught off guard by Cross's determination, stumbles as the attack lands, screaming in pain. Saltia questions if her performance as a demon king is sufficient, showing her tactical approach. Saltia picks up her partner, congratulating him and showing gratitude for his effort in the training. Cross is confused and overwhelmed, realizing something unexpected has just happened, unsure of the outcome. Cross reacts to Saltia's unexpected change in behavior, questioning if everything had been an act. Saltia reveals the truth, explaining she had a hidden plan all along to motivate Cross further. Cross, caught off guard, is reminded by Saltia of his true motivation to protect others. Saltia apologizes, admitting her drastic method was meant to overcome Cross's fear for others' sake. Cross reflects on his original goal, becoming an adventurer who could protect those important to him. Cross promises to try harder, grateful for the lesson, and ready to face his challenges. A week later, Cross faces a new challenge, preparing for a serious confrontation ahead. Cross, reflecting on his healed wounds and remaining magic, prepares for the battle with renewed determination. Cross declares that today will be the day he wins. In the heat of the battle, Cross is injured badly, as spikes pierce through his body. Bleeding and battered, Cross grips his injured arm, still determined to push through the pain. Despite the pain, Cross uses his determination to land a blow that breaks his opponent's speed. Cross, exhausted and injured, fights against the monsters, while the dungeon's boss watches from a distance. Cross notices the enemy's sudden movements, realizing that multiple creatures are converging on him. As the creatures attack, Cross narrowly evades them, using his physical enhancements to escape the danger. Wounded, Cross struggles to fight off the creatures, but he remains determined to push forward. Meanwhile, the demon girls discuss their plans, revealing that the duel date has been set. Despite the defeat of his opponent, Cross is determined to continue forward, convinced he can do it. Cross's growth is evaluated, but he's still unsure whether his skills are enough to succeed. The demon girls doubt his preparation, but Cross resolves to keep pushing himself for the upcoming duel. Determined, Cross stands before the arena, ready to face whatever comes next in the battle. The arena stands tall, filled with anticipation as the duel day approaches. Setting the stage, city's walls begin to shake as destruction is imminent, with enemies breaking through and causing chaos. The soldiers panic, realizing that a high-level monster previously thought to be distant has appeared. Killer Tiger rampages through the streets, terrifying the citizens and overpowering everyone in its path. The soldiers are helpless against the beast's speed, struggling to mount any defense against its onslaught. A noble watches the disaster unfold, frustrated with the inability to stop the beast's fury. A nobleman enhances his speed and stops the killer tiger in its tracks with a swift punch. The noble acknowledges the tiger's strength, preparing to engage with even more advanced techniques. The noble, with incredible speed, launches a flurry of rapid attacks, overwhelming the killer tiger. The noble remains calm, knowing his power is enough to deal with the massive beast. After effortlessly defeating the tiger, the noble walks away, directing the reconstruction efforts to continue. Cross's impressive strength has shocked everyone. He's quickly gaining recognition for his extraordinary feats. Meanwhile, a group wonders whether Cross will be fine as they travel, concerned for his well-being. Alicia, a high-ranking individual, arrives back and wonders about the noise, unaware of Cross's impact. Alicia relaxes in her room, reflecting on Cross as she ponders his activities and future. As the duel approaches, Alicia, still thinking of Cross, engages in conversation, revealing the anticipation building up. People are buzzing about Cross Alcarte, who has gained attention for his challenge to Duke Waldera's family. Alicia, still thinking about Cross, struggles with her feelings while wondering about his upcoming duel. 3 days later, Alicia gazes at the arena, wondering if Cross is ready for the battle. Cross reflects on his preparations for the duel, acknowledging the challenge ahead but remaining resolute. As Cross enters the arena, the crowd erupts in excitement. With the battle about to begin, Cross steps into the arena, and the crowd watches intently. One person places a bet on him. The crowd encourages Cross, urging him to stay strong in the fight ahead. Cross looks around, convinced his masters have come to cheer him on. Despite the crowd's energy, Alicia's opponent greets him with a mocking tone, remarking that Cross made it without running. Both opponents, Alicia and Cross, deciding to leave their grudges behind and focus on the duel. The duel begins, and the terms are announced. Cross is determined, swearing not to lose. Cross is shocked by the terms of the duel. He must serve a noble. The duel organizer explains that the punishment will not be too harsh, but still significant. Cross is surprised at the leniency of the penalty, wondering if it's meant to teach respect. Cross is stunned as the duel terms are finalized. He must serve the local nobility. The spectators, puzzled by the nobles' decisions, worry that the factions will mock Cross's faction. As rumors circulate about the soldier family's actions, others speculate about the consequences for Cross. The noble reveals unsettling information about his behavior, hinting at dark, twisted actions involving youth. Cross is terrified of the consequences if he loses, fearing being controlled by a perverted aristocrat. Mysterious figures discuss the upcoming duel, sensing that a disastrous outcome is inevitable for Cross. A mysterious group considers the potential of Cross losing the duel, pondering the consequences for him. Concerned for Cross's safety, one character warns that someone might perish due to the duel. Cross steels himself, reaffirming his resolve to win despite the overwhelming odds he faces. The noble mocks Cross's motivation, but preparations are made as both opponents get ready to fight. The duel begins, and the tension rises as both Cross and his opponent make their moves. Cross struggles to gain traction as his opponent's speed catches him off guard, making him stumble. His opponent, confident and mocking, taunts Cross, offering him a chance to initiate his move. Cross contemplates the situation, realizing that waiting passively will only lead to his defeat. In a flash of determination, Cross activates his physical enhancements, gearing up for an aggressive attack. However, his opponent quickly counters, acknowledging Cross's new strength, though still managing to maintain an edge. Cross unleashes an attack, but his opponent remains unfazed, noting his surprising special abilities despite being classless. Cross struggles as his opponent acknowledges his growth, but quickly overpowers him with a swift counter. His opponent mocks him, highlighting the vast gap between their training, leaving Cross frustrated but determined. Cross, refusing to back down, activates a special attack, hoping to break his opponent's dominance. However, his opponent effortlessly dodges the attack, labeling Cross's move as too slow to matter. Cross launches a sudden attack, but his opponent remains calm and notices his growing abilities. Cross reflects on his strategy, realizing his plan isn't fully developed, and prepares for more adjustments. The opponent taunts, pointing out Cross's lack of preparation, even as Cross struggles to gain ground. Determined, Cross activates a powerful ability to shift the odds in his favor, planning to strike. The opponent swiftly counters, demonstrating his overwhelming skill and commenting on Cross's limited ability to keep up. Cross charges towards his opponent with overwhelming speed, aiming to strike but is met with a fierce counter. His speed surprises the crowd, but Cross quickly adjusts, focusing on his next attack strategy. With intense determination, Cross leaps into the air, trying to break through his opponent's defenses. Cross unleashes devastating move, Triple Wind Lance, creating storm of powerful strikes aimed at his opponent. His opponent, unimpressed, easily evades the strike with grace, demonstrating superior skills and control. Cross struggles under the intense pressure of his opponent's onslaught, with the audience urging him on. Cross, battered and bruised, stands defiant, surrounded by the taunts of his opponent and the crowd. The noble, mocking his opponent, prolongs the suffering by refusing to end the duel swiftly. A devastating blow lands, piercing Cross's body as he struggles, but his resolve still holds firm. The noble roars in victory as he strikes the final blow, laughing triumphantly over Cross's defeat. Cross is severely injured, his right arm shattered, as his opponent smirks, watching him struggle. The noble taunts Cross, relishing the pain he's caused, and plans his next strike. Cross, with desperation, unleashes his delayed magic skill, preparing for a final attack to survive. The noble is caught off guard as Cross uses magic to slow him down, buying time. The noble is shocked, stumbling as Cross's attack connects, his superiority threatened for the first time. Cross, heavily injured, notices the noble's attack didn't cause damage, despite the impact and force. The noble, frustrated by the lack of damage, realizes Cross used speed reduction magic on him. Cross, struggling but determined, wonders how he gained such advanced skills, including powerful, debilitating magic. The noble panics, realizing Cross is using a highly advanced form of magic he doesn't understand. Cross activates his magic stalker ability, which shocks the noble, who now faces a dangerous opponent. Despite intense pain, Cross continues his fight, his body damaged but his resolve unbroken. The noble, shocked, realizes that Cross activated 3 abilities beforehand, causing him to struggle. Cross, recalling his training, uses magic to extend spell activation time, catching the noble off guard. Cross learns and masters powerful self-recovery and pain reduction skills, allowing him to fight without limits. With his new abilities, Cross is ready to battle without fear of injury or pain. Cross, seemingly unaffected by pain, fights relentlessly while the spectators are shocked by his surprising strength. The noble, struggling to comprehend, recognizes that Cross is using a rare and dangerous class. Cross reveals his dark priest skills, shocking the noble as he prepares to use them. Cross manages to fight back using his speed reduction skill, leaving the audience shocked by his unexpected power. Cross smiles through his pain as his wounds heal right before everyone's eyes, further shocking his opponent. The audience is left confused as they realize Cross is defying logic and expectations by healing quickly. Gimlet tries to land a finishing blow, only to realize Cross had been planning this. Cross reflects on how he manipulated his opponent to cover up his strategy. Cross uses physical enhancement skill, boosting his strength, preparing for a decisive attack on Gimlet. Cross unleashes his power with a battle cry, charging forward, determined to overpower Gimlet. Cross charges at Gimlet with immense speed, catching him off guard in a swift strike. Despite the speed reduction, Gimlet continues to dodge Cross's relentless attacks, utilizing his agility skillfully. After being hit by Cross's speed reduction, Gimlet skillfully evades, showcasing his superior speed and reflexes. Cross can now track Gimlet's movements with his eyes, preparing for the next move. Cross struggles as he realizes Gimlet's superior speed, planning his next step cautiously. Gimlet prepares to wear Cross down, using his special abilities and targeting his weak points. Both battle intensely as Cross confronts Gimlet's curse, unsure of what to attack next. In a crucial moment, Cross charges at Gimlet, determined to continue despite the overwhelming odds. Cross creates 2 chances in quick succession, seizing the opportunity to strike back at Gimlet. Gimlet decides to take drastic action, planning to crush both opportunities before they cause damage. Gimlet counters with a low kick, believing that even the slightest injury will hinder Cross. The power of the low kick surprises Cross, proving to be more effective than expected. Gimlet struggles as he faces one more critical hit from Cross, sensing defeat closing in. Cross launches his attack, preparing to use Eternal Despair, but is out of range for speed down. Realizing his speed is still lacking, Cross activates an intermediate black magic skill in desperation. A burst of speed down causes chaos as Cross realizes it's not the same as speed down break. Gimlet struggles to move as the speed down burst reduces his movement, and he questions Cross's abilities. Rayon explains the origin and effectiveness of the speed down burst, which enhances range over strength. Cross charges with a powerful attack, triggering an emergency withdrawal and boosting his agility for a quick retreat. With a burst of physical enhancement, Cross moves fluidly and gracefully, as if flying through the air. The scene intensifies as Cross leaps gracefully toward his opponent, both warriors about to clash. A massive explosion occurs as Cross engages his opponent, throwing dust and debris into the air. The crowd reacts with shock and awe, witnessing Cross Alacarte's unexpected victory and incredible abilities. Cross acknowledges that Gimlet has superior speed and strength, but he's determined to find a way. Both warriors are evenly matched, with Cross now defying Gimlet's expectations in the battle. Cross questions how they are even matched, asserting that a little slow down doesn't make him equal. Gimlet passionately declares that defeating tough opponents, not relying on skills alone, makes a true warrior. The 2 warriors engage in a final clash, their swords colliding with explosive intensity. Cross and Gimlet face each other in a fierce standoff, both filled with intense determination. Cross relentlessly charges toward Gimlet, taking every opportunity to attack, determined to overcome him. Gimlet attempts to warn Cross, but his relentless attack pushes him into an explosive counterstrike. The fight escalates as both combatants exchange powerful moves, neither showing any sign of giving up. Both fighters continue their intense battle, driven by their unyielding will and the pride they hold. The crowd cheers wildly as Cross and Gimlet engage in a fierce, skillful sword clash. Sparks fly as their swords clash with intense power, showing the fierce energy of battle. Cross and Gimlet, both determined, recognize this moment as the true test of their abilities. Cross and his opponent, Gimlet, are locked in an intense battle, both showing determination. The fight is intense, but thanks to Cross's weakening skills, Gimlet is now on equal footing. Gimlet, refusing to lose, activates his enhancements, preparing for an even more powerful offensive strike. Cross narrowly avoids Gimlet's enhanced attack. Realizing the dangers of underestimating his opponent's abilities, Gimlet quickly counterattacks with a blitz enhancement, but Cross uses emergency evasion to narrowly escape. Cross faces a powerful special move that defeated a risk level 5 adventurer in an instant. Gimlet unleashes his flurry of 100 movements, but Cross barely manages to hold on. Cross prepares to mimic the enemy's signature move, determined to learn from his opponent's strength. The sheer force of the move turns the forest into powder, showing the immense power. Cross, exhausted, struggles to hold up against the overwhelming force, reflecting on Rion's technique. Cross readies himself, sharpening his focus to withstand the enemy's onslaught with his skills. He delivers his counter, executing the signature move with perfect timing, causing shockwaves to erupt. Cross uses the intermediate cross counter, striking with precision and determination against his opponent. In a powerful counter reversal, Cross turns the fight around, countering his opponent's attack perfectly. With a smirk, Cross reveals his counters aren't exclusive to nobles, shocking the enemy in defeat. Cross and Gimlet engage in a fierce battle, exchanging powerful counters, leaving the crowd astonished. Cross gets overwhelmed by Gimlet's flurry of rapid attacks, though still holding on with resolve. Gimlet, frustrated, acknowledges the difficulty of facing a melee fighter with the skills of a dark priest. Despite slowing down Gimlet, Cross faces the harsh realization of the overwhelming gap in strength. In a moment of defeat, Gimlet grapples with the knowledge that his magic can't defeat Cross. Cross, bruised and exhausted, faces harsh words from a foe, but remains determined despite the odds. A stunned Cross looks at his opponent, realizing the gap in skill and his struggles. A friend reveals Cross's opponent is a level 50 swordsman, intensifying his fears and doubts. Cross hears harsh words about his lack of talent, but he remains silent, determined to press on. As Cross reflects, he understands the true nature of his challenges, realizing the value of his friends. Cross, alone and weary, questions how he ended up in this struggle, his mind in turmoil. He recalls Giselle's words, understanding her intentions to protect him by forcing him to face reality. Realization dawns on Cross that he was his own biggest obstacle, struggling with his self-doubt. As his inner conflict intensifies, Cross struggles to rise, determined not to fail in front of his friends. With renewed determination, Cross charges forward, vowing not to disappoint the friends who believe in him. Cross uses his enhanced cross counter, recalling his training, determined to overcome the fierce opponent. Gimlet executes a counter reversal, mocking Cross, but unaware of his growing strength and resolve. Gimlet believes Cross is desperate, unaware of the focus Cross gained through intense training. Cross remembers Rion's lessons, realizing the purpose of his struggle to reach his full potential. Cross, with immense determination, readies himself to repay his mentors, focusing all his power. Gimlet continues to mock Cross, frustrated by his repeated attacks, underestimating Cross's true potential. Cross surprises Gimlet with his unexpected power. As Gimlet starts realizing something's wrong with his attacks, Cross activates his intermediate physical enhancement, revealing the strength from his training, leaving Gimlet stunned. Gimlet retaliates with a counter reversal, but Cross's newly gained power allows him to counter back. Cross analyzes Gimlet's fighting technique, understanding the flow of his magic and body movements. Gimlet is shocked by the repeated counters between them. As Cross keeps pushing through, Cross launches another powerful attack with intense focus, surprising Gimlet, who doesn't expect this response. Both fighters release their ultimate moves, their countering abilities escalating to unpredictable levels, increasing the intensity. Cross reflects on his struggle, realizing he's growing stronger with each battle despite his weakness. With a final surge, Cross reaches new heights in his counter skill, leveling up tremendously. Gimlet's face shows shock as he realizes Cross has reached an unexpected power level, overwhelming him. Gimlet is forced to retreat, overwhelmed by Cross's unexpected resilience and relentless counterattacks, despite injuries. Cross, unyielding, keeps advancing. Gimlet's frustration grows, questioning how Cross's magic keeps flowing non-stop. Cross releases powerful physical enhancement, determined to overcome his opponent's continued attacks with sheer force. Cross fights back fiercely, using his advanced techniques, increasing his skill levels rapidly as battle progresses. With incredible speed, Cross executes a stunning aerial attack, his enhanced power catching his opponent off guard. Cross initiates a powerful wind spell from above, aiming to finish the battle with a huge attack. Gimlet attempts to intercept Cross's descent, preparing to strike while Cross descends with force. Cross releases his devastating triple wind lance, forcing Gimlet to retreat quickly to avoid destruction. Gimlet, in disbelief, watches as Cross skillfully dodges, mocking his attack and showing his confidence. The dust cloud from Cross's wind magic envelops the arena, leaving Gimlet stunned and struggling. Cross Alcarte releases a new spell, Wintry Wind of Twilight, shocking his opponent with its power. Cross's opponent launches a forceful strike, intending to finish the fight with a deadly blow. Just before the hit, Cross reveals a counterattack stance, surprising his opponent with a swift response. The counter reversal hits, leaving the opponent stunned and unable to react as Cross strikes. The momentum of the counterattack builds, and Cross unleashes a final decisive blow at lightning speed. Cross Alcarte's opponent attacks fiercely, but the moment is interrupted as an error occurs in the spell. Cross Alcarte, enraged, unleashes a magical counter, expressing disbelief at his opponent's failed attempt. His opponent is struck hard, realizing he's facing something far beyond his previous expectations. In an unexpected turn, the opponent roars in frustration, unable to fathom being defeated by Cross. Cross finishes the battle with an intense and powerful Aegis shot, launching it with unmatched speed. Cross Alcarte launches a powerful attack, leaving debris flying as he gains the upper hand. The intense impact sends his opponent flying, but Cross remains unfazed as he watches. Cross activates a new spell, shrouded in energy, signaling a dangerous power he unleashes. The audience is shocked as the life preservation ward activates, signaling Cross's survival despite the intense battle. Cross emerges from the destruction, gasping for air, but he stands tall, despite the toll. Cross stands victorious, holding a weapon while recalling his motivation for fighting to protect others. The match ends with Cross as the winner, surprising everyone with his hard-fought victory. Cross is swarmed by his friends, who celebrate his triumph while expressing awe at his strength. His friends, overwhelmed by the victory, can't believe Cross won against an upper noble. Giselle tries to hide her tears as she's teased by the others about her emotions. Giselle scolds Cross for his reckless fighting, while he apologizes for making her worry. Cross proudly declares that his victory was for Giselle and everyone, showing his determination. Cross and Giselle share a fist bump, and a crowd cheers for their victory. The scene shifts to a calm moment as Cross is supported by a friend in the arena. In the infirmary, Cross rests after the battle while a friend greets him with praise. The girls cheer for Cross's victory, celebrating his upset win and the ease of their task. Cross gets pulled into a hug, but Giselle's comment about sacrifices makes him worry. Cross thanks everyone for their support and promises to do anything he can in return. The group discusses their next plans, with some humor about Cross and his bath situation. Back in the royal palace, someone reflects on a victory, unaware of an impending catastrophe. Gimlet, in disbelief, cannot accept the reality and is consumed with frustration over the situation. He orders the use of an assassin unit, desperate to resolve the issue violently. His assistant protests, reminding him that the assassin unit should only be used for emergencies. Gimlet, ignoring the warnings, becomes increasingly frantic, ready to use the assassins for bloodshed. Overwhelmed by his situation, Gimlet questions his future, fearing the loss of his noble status. Gimlet, laughing maniacally, plans to drag Cross Alcarte down with him if he faces doom. The sound of boots echoes as a group of assassins, summoned by Gimlet, march forward. The assassins, cloaked and armed, prepare for their mission, following Gimlet's orders without hesitation. The assassins are informed of the target's location, a secluded wooden building, for their mission. The assassins discuss the high cost of Cross Alcarte's training, astonished by his rise despite being classless. The assassins approach the building with caution, suspecting something off about Cross Alcarte's nature. Entering the room, the assassins spread out, sensing an eerie silence and preparing for action. One assassin is confused by the lack of signs of occupancy, questioning the situation further. As the group inspects the room, they find a hidden staircase leading into an unknown space. The group cautiously descends into a dark, mysterious passage, feeling the weight of impending danger. The assassins approach a large mansion, confused by the dark, ominous sky and looming structure. The group senses 4 different presences, realizing the mansion hides its true purpose beneath deception. They plan to split up, setting the strategy to eliminate advanced classes in 3 teams. Entering the grand chamber, the assassins move swiftly, aiming for their target with deadly intent. Reaching the target's room, they prepare to strike, carefully moving closer to the sleeping figure. The assassins are shocked to find knives stabbed into the bed, realizing their target has escaped. A sudden blast of freezing magic sends one assassin flying, signaling powerful defense mechanisms at play. The assassins scramble as they witness a mysterious, powerful figure controlling the ice magic effortlessly. Realizing the source of the magic is near, they spot the figure at the top of stairs. The powerful figure demands answers, intimidating the assassins, questioning which noble house sent them. The attackers panic as their attempt fails, realizing the target was far more dangerous than anticipated. The magic freezes the leader's voice, halting communication as fear and confusion begin to set in. The attackers' struggle intensifies as the magic overwhelms them, their limbs immobilized by the chilling power. The leader's calm demeanor stands in contrast as she reassures her allies, promising recovery despite the pain. With a calculated smile, she offers a chance to reveal their secrets, but survival is conditional. The assassins, frustrated by their failure, quickly escalate, revealing their willingness to speak after extreme pressure. The poison takes effect as the attackers struggle, their bodies freezing from the powerful substance. As the poison weakens them, their cries of pain only make their situation more dire. Despite the poison's effects, the calm woman reveals their efforts are hopeless, mocking their inadequacy. The leader realizes something is wrong. His men remain motionless, and their plans seem doomed. Amid the night, chaos erupts as assassins are thrown into the air, startled by unexpected forces. The cause of the destruction becomes clear as a furious figure regrets breaking the wall. A determined woman, filled with anger, threatens to deal with her enemies during the day. The assailants realize they're facing a force far beyond their expectations, and panic begins. Meanwhile, the protagonist wakes up, shocked by the overwhelming sounds, unaware of the chaos outside. A cold, chilling transformation occurs as ice structures emerge, trapping the assassins in a frozen grip. A worried ally apologizes for their actions, while trying to reassure everyone about the situation. As the reality sinks in, the group prepares for more danger, learning to use their skills. The protagonist, reflecting, realizes that their masters expected this chaos, causing some internal doubts to rise. With new perspective, team is ready for battle, questioning enemies' true motives behind the assault. The group of apprentices, now aware of their master's outrageous actions, prepares to exact retribution. The protagonist, furious, realizes the assassins ran off with the advance payment, inciting his anger. Impatiently, he demands answers, frustrated by the slow response of his subordinates, unaware of danger. The protagonist is struck by a sudden shock, realizing something has gone horribly wrong and surprising him. He is violently thrown, struggling to comprehend the unexpected attack and the betrayal that follows. Duke Hamlet Waldrea appears, bloodied and battered, revealing his supreme class job, leaving the protagonist confused. The protagonist is shocked by his father's condition, struggling to understand why he looks so ruined. Father aggressively questions the protagonist's actions, enraged about the involvement of an assassination squad. Father continues his rant, blaming the protagonist for sending an assassination squad after dangerous adventurers. In disbelief, the protagonist stumbles upon a massive pile of assassins, all defeated in a heap. While the protagonist gathers his thoughts, a mysterious figure approaches, clearly aware of the situation's complexity. A powerful surge of magical energy erupts as the three women stand ready for battle. The father kneels in shame, overwhelmed by the violent force his son unleashed, begging. The protagonist realizes the dire situation as he is confronted by S-rank adventurers involved in this chaos. The protagonist stares in disbelief as he sees a pile of assassins, crushed and defeated. The protagonist struggles, realizing the assassin's deadly intent to torture him, pushing him to his limits. Cross desperately tries to stop the escalating situation, realizing the group's actions are spiraling out of control. Cross, despite his gratitude for their anger, expresses concern about the overreaction, feeling overwhelmed. Cross argues that the attack was unforgivable but emphasizes the need for limits and retaliation. The group reflects on their actions, with Cross understanding the gravity of the situation and his role. Cross suggests a truce, recognizing that continuing the fight will only lead to bad outcomes for everyone. Cross stops the chaos, telling the group that attacking a noble family goes too far. Cross, though overwhelmed by the situation, is determined to stop the conflict and find peace. Cross shows understanding and offers forgiveness, surprising everyone with his kindness in this tense moment. Cross, despite being a jobless individual, shocks Gimlet by proposing a peaceful settlement instead of vengeance. Gimlet, overwhelmed by Cross's unimaginable mercy, is moved to tears, realizing Cross's true strength and compassion. Gimlet is overwhelmed by a strong feeling of loyalty and respect toward Cross. Feeling intense emotions, the loyalty Gimlet feels is so powerful it surpasses even that of the royal family. Cross's kindness causes Gimlet to realize the truth of his actions, leading to deep regret. Gimlet swears lifelong loyalty to Cross, acknowledging his mistake and vowing to follow him. Cross is confused by Gimlet's overwhelming emotions, unable to comprehend the depth of his devotion. Cross asserts his loyalty, causing Gimlet to feel deeply overwhelmed and vow his allegiance to him. The women around Cross express their unease at the situation, unsure of his influence over Gimlet. Despite the tension, Cross insists on ending the conflict with a peaceful resolution, for the sake of all. Despite his internal struggles, Cross continues to push forward, even as others express their doubts about his methods. The story continues with the building's destruction, symbolizing the consequences of the actions. Cross is welcomed by the people as his new faction, a la carte, begins to rise in power. Gimlet, determined to prove his loyalty to Cross, demands that everyone respect him as their leader. Cross's influence over others becomes undeniable as people question the sudden shift in power dynamics. Some people are skeptical of Cross's transformation, thinking it might have been the shock after his defeat. Despite the growing influence, Cross's companions continue with their daily routine, teasing and pushing him forward. Cross tries to stop the fighting between his companions, while Gimlet struggles with loyalty issues. Cross reluctantly accepts the attention from others, hoping the orphans will have a better future. The girls discuss how Cross's abilities have improved, with admiration for his sudden growth in power. Cross's status sheet shows immense growth, which is puzzling to everyone around him. As Cross grows in power and influence, those around him are left wondering about his progress. Cross discovers an unknown skill appearing in his status, causing confusion and curiosity about its power. Cross discovers a new error skill in his status screen and curiosity about its effects. Cross's new error skill is revealed to combine multiple skills, dramatically enhancing his abilities. The skill's nature is explained. Cross's new error skill is an amalgamation of 8 enhancement skills. Despite its slow development, the new error skill is incredibly powerful, surpassing other skills' potential. The discussion continues on how Cross's growth might be unlimited, surpassing the limits of support skills. Cross's future growth potential astounds everyone, leaving them in awe of his developing power. The women discuss how to make plans to gain Cross's attention and claim him. They strategize on helping Cross gain advanced class skills, while managing the orphanage's well-being. Cross receives a grand welcome at the celebration, marking his victory with excitement and cheers. The party turns wild as the women argue, eager to celebrate and gain Cross's favor. Cross finds himself caught in a chaotic situation, surrounded by drunk and overly enthusiastic women. The women quarrel over Cross, showing their affection, while he's caught in the middle. The next morning, Cross reflects on the wild events, realizing he learned valuable lessons from them. Cross feels overwhelmed but inspired by the attention and praise he receives for his new skill. Cross, trying to maintain composure, faces an unexpected turn of events as he's tracked down. Alicia appears before Cross, greeting him with a shy smile, sparking curiosity and confusion in him. Cross is shocked and confused, unsure of why Alicia has suddenly appeared before him. Alicia nervously tries to ask Cross something important, leading to a confused reaction from him. Cross is caught off guard as Alicia reveals she's targeting something significant within the city. Alicia reveals her intentions, suggesting that she wants Cross to become her companion, startling him. Alicia explains that many adventurers aim to build factions and make names for themselves. Cross is shocked as Alicia talks about how fame can lead to marrying beautiful people. Cross frantically denies any interest in marrying Alicia, flustered by his thoughts, and the situation. Cross insists it's all a misunderstanding, desperately trying to clear the confusion about his intentions. Alicia seems unconvinced, continuing the conversation while Cross is still overwhelmed by his own words. Cross feels strange ever since meeting Alicia, and he keeps thinking about weird things. Alicia realizes her misunderstanding, apologizing for asking such a weird question while Cross remains confused. Cross nervously asks Alicia out for a meal and she walks away, surprised by the offer. Cross urgently chases after Alicia, who seems unaware of his feelings, wanting to fix the misunderstanding. Alicia enjoys her meal, realizing that it's been a while since she had such delicious food. Cross notices Alicia seems to be doing well but wonders if another misunderstanding is happening. Cross asks Alicia about the opening ceremony, concerned about her distant behavior during it. Alicia explains the speech she gave at the ceremony was something she was told to say. Alicia shares her frustration about being a descendant of the hero, lacking freedom and choice. Cross listens attentively as Alicia confesses her difficult life, feeling suffocated by her family's mission. Alicia confesses she's been venting frustrations lately, appreciating Cross for being such a good listener. Cross feels he may be being meddlesome, but Alicia reassures him it's just her situation. Cross wonders aloud if Alicia could live more freely if someone other than the hero's bloodline. Alicia pauses, unsure, but Cross pushes on, questioning if she could live freely without the bloodline's burden. Alicia hesitates before responding, her thoughts lingering as she considers Cross's question about the demon lords. Cross apologizes, feeling embarrassed by his misunderstanding, while Alicia playfully laughs, finding the situation amusing. Alicia continues to smile, but Cross seems anxious, unsure about how to handle the situation. They walk down the street, group remarks on Cross standing out due to his late arrival. They spot Cross in front of a building with someone, creating a moment of tension. Cross stands shocked as Alicia disintegrates into pixels, a mysterious event leaving him stunned. Alicia's sudden disintegration causes concern for the group, leaving them confused in the city. Cross apologizes to Alicia for his childish remark, making her blush as she forgives him. Group reacts with exaggerated expressions, realizing Cross's awkwardness and their own surprise at the situation. Alicia reassures Cross with a warm smile, easing his embarrassment as he tries to apologize. Alicia playfully warns Cross not to say embarrassing things casually, catching him off guard. Alicia expresses concern, fearing Cross's words could lead to misunderstandings, while blushing slightly. Cross, stunned, becomes nervous after Alicia's words, unsure if he said something wrong. Cross reacts with confusion and alarm, hearing strange noises outside the window. Alicia scolds the group's overreaction as they discuss Cross's rising fame. With a surprising twist, Alicia denies any chance of someone with a jobless background and hero bloodline ending up together, while others anxiously listen. Alicia's troubled expression reveals inner turmoil, and she becomes cautious, sensing a growing tension around her. Alicia suddenly reacts with urgency, causing Cross to worry about what triggered her strange behavior. Now tense and focused, alerts everyone to the alarming danger she just sensed, leaving Cross confused. Cross is shocked by Alicia's warning about a threat worse than a hydra, unsure if it's real. Cross realizes it's time to leave, but Alicia assures him they'll finish their conversation later, smiling. Cross witnesses an unexpected event where two figures are affected by strange abilities, leaving him confused. Including a jealous elf, start arguing, but one of them worries about their reputation. The trio realizes their rivalry might push Cross toward another, unexpected romantic interest. Determined, they decide to act without hindering Cross's growth, but their actions become more secretive. Cross wakes up and heads to school, preparing himself for the challenges ahead, worried. Cross reflects on the legend about a hero's ability to defeat a demon lord, determined. Cross faces the reality of his goals, contemplating the obstacles while observing the bustling city. He is focused on his mission, but something feels off as a presence lingers nearby. A powerful figure's attack interrupts his thoughts, leaving Cross in awe and uncertainty about his future. Cross's eyes widen in surprise, noticing something is off as he senses imminent danger. A battle erupts as an unknown swordsman ambushes Cross, forcing him to defend fiercely. Cross is pushed back after a brutal clash, struggling to maintain his footing against the opponent. The mysterious swordsman smirks, impressed by Cross's defense, hinting at his skills not being a fluke. Cross, now surrounded by a group of hostile figures, demands answers, feeling lost and confused. Cross is stunned by the situation, unaware of the intense combat he's about to face. The battle heats up as Cross faces a powerful swordsman, blocking his ferocious strike. Cross is sent flying, overwhelmed by the force, and realizing the attackers are outmatching him. Despite being outnumbered, Cross finds a way to use his agility, evading his opponent's strikes. Cross continues to fight back against relentless foes, but the situation is growing more chaotic. The enemies lose track of Cross, who slips away to avoid being cornered in a messy alley. Cross contemplates how to shake off his pursuers while avoiding getting caught in a trap. As Cross tries to hide, he's suddenly discovered, and a fierce confrontation begins. The battle intensifies as Cross faces multiple enemies, recognizing the serious danger he's in. Cross pushes his limits, countering the enemy's overwhelming force, but realizes they are much stronger. Cross counters an attack with precision, unleashing a powerful blow that overwhelms his opponent's strike. The advanced knight struggles with the pain, acknowledging that Cross's skill is more formidable than expected. Cross is knocked back by a powerful shield bash, his momentum disrupted as he falls. Two enemies launch a deadly fire spell at Cross, who narrowly escapes the imminent blast. Final twist: a rogue uses robbery magic, disorienting the opponent before vanishing into the smoke. Cross is confronted by a powerful opponent, his threat leaving Cross momentarily startled and confused. His opponent unleashes a devastating one gale, 100 strikes, a whirlwind of strikes. The overwhelming power of the strike causes massive destruction, leaving the opponent screaming in fury. A brief moment of relief follows, as two allies check on Cross, ensuring his safety. Cross becomes aware of the danger to his friends, Giselle and Gimlet, causing him to panic. Cross is warned by Giselle about his safety due to rumors surrounding him being targeted. The group discusses rumors of a large reward for those who challenge Cross, raising suspicions. Giselle warns Cross that those who challenge him face disgrace, while hidden assassins may target him. Giselle angrily vents about the noble factions conspiring against Cross, leading to Cross's awkward reaction. Giselle passionately declares his loyalty to Cross, emphasizing proper courtesy while Cross remains confused behavior. Cross is approached by Giselle, who pledges loyalty, offering to serve him in any way. The group discusses the danger targeting Cross, with Giselle worried about possible ambushes. Giselle offers to escort Cross, despite her annoyance, vowing to protect him with her life. Giselle and another character argue over their roles, each claiming responsibility for Cross's protection. Cross interrupts, frustrated by Giselle and the others' constant fighting, reminding them of their duties. Cross discusses the vulnerability of their current defense, realizing that the bodyguard plan is temporary. Cross acknowledges relying too much on Giselle and Gimlet, worried about facing more dangerous threats. Giselle announces a short-term combat training camp to prepare for stronger opponents, focusing on improvement. Cross is surprised by the idea of the camp, while Giselle stresses the importance of real combat. Giselle explains the importance of enhancing base abilities for unpredictable future encounters and improving overall strength. Cross is tasked with joining Giselle and others on requests, while also working on new skills. Cross hesitates, wondering if handling requests from S-rank adventurers is too much for him. Cross feels impressed by his master's smooth handling of the situation and their foresight. Everyone prepares to leave, eager to take on the challenges ahead, heading out for the mission. Cross, shocked, learns they're heading into the dangerous abyssal forest to meet their client. Cross and his companions arrive at a strange location, shocked by the unfamiliar scenery ahead. They realize they've reached the ocean, and their journey seems to have taken an unexpected turn. Cross is surprised by the beach's proximity to the forest, unsure of the plan ahead. Giselle reminds the group to respect their temporary truce and avoid interfering with each other. Cross jokes about the salty sea, while his companions laugh, knowing well what he's referring to. Cross is amazed by the ocean's beauty, but is confused by his master's sudden disappearance. Cross is called over by his companions, who eagerly invite him to explore while waiting. As they chat, Cross is reminded that the expedition also includes some relaxation, not just training. Cross gets nervous upon seeing what appears to be underwear, thinking it's for aquatic monster training. Cross awkwardly wears the attire, feeling uneasy being shirtless in the open, with the abyssal forest nearby. Cross gets surprised when Rion arrives, apologizing for keeping him waiting while he stands on beach. Rion strikes a confident pose in her bold outfit, unsure if she looks weird to Cross. Cross stumbles over his words, apologizing for staring at Rion, who is taken aback. Rion blushes. She thought she was the one making the move, but instead, Cross reacts. Cross nervously wonders if he said something wrong, while Rion blushes, confused about what happened. Cross, shocked and blushing, is greeted by Telemea in a revealing swimsuit, adding to his embarrassment. Telemea nervously asks Cross for his opinion on her swimsuit, feeling self-conscious about her appearance. Cross and Rion react in shock, realizing they are both staring at Telemea's revealing swimsuit. Telemea, feeling embarrassed, chastises Cross and Rion for their staring, revealing her own discomfort. Lyudmila angrily scolds everyone for their lack of modesty, while Cross and Telemea try to explain. Cross is startled by Telemea and Rion as they prepare for beach fun, creating tension. Telemea asks Cross to rub lotion on her back, embarrassing him further with her smile. Cross is bewildered, and Telemea urges him to apply enough lotion, explaining its underwater use. A sea serpent appears as a sudden threat, prompting a quick response from the group. Cross calls out for his master in alarm as Telemea charges forward to confront the monster. A monstrous sea serpent emerges from the depths, terrifying Rion and her friend as they struggle. Rion commands Telomea to act as the serpent lunges at them. A deadly confrontation unfolding. Telomea's attack catches the serpent off guard, making it recoil in pain, causing chaos in the waters. Rion launches into battle with her own attack, her war god's crushing fist targeting the serpent. With a massive strike, Rion defeats the serpent, sending it crashing into the distant horizon. The sea serpent roars in pain as Rion's powerful attack severely injures it, causing a chaotic scene. Surprised onlookers discuss the ease with which Rion defeated the beast, questioning its previous difficulty. In a sudden twist, the protagonist is unexpectedly tossed across the sand, losing control momentarily. After the skirmish, a quiet moment ensues as Lyudmila awkwardly tries to hide away, blushing. The protagonist is startled as Lyudmila, in a playful gesture, pulls at his shirt unexpectedly. Lyudmila nervously asks for feedback as she tries on a swimsuit, her face flushed with embarrassment. The protagonist's shock intensifies as he realizes Lyudmila's boldness, causing an exaggerated reaction of surprise. The protagonist tries to process the awkward situation, stumbling over his words as he attempts to explain. Lyudmila, embarrassed, asks for his opinion while blushing deeply, but he feels too ashamed to look. Overwhelmed by the situation, Lyudmila reflects on her emotions, questioning why she feels so flustered. Lyudmila, feeling overwhelmed by the moment, is about to give in, struggling to control her emotions. Both stare at each other, tension building as the distance between them narrows dramatically. She's shocked as he's suddenly interrupted. With Lyudmila now facing an unexpected situation, escalates as the confrontation intensifies, with a furious character demanding to know their actions. The threat is delivered, as the angry character demands silence, warning of dire consequences if anyone speaks. Lyudmila's nervousness grows as she reveals her swimsuit, unable to control the situation any longer. The protagonist reacts in panic, overwhelmed by the moment, unable to face her directly. The awkwardness continues as they're interrupted by the appearance of others, leading to even more tension. The situation escalates when a furious voice demands an explanation, amplifying the already uncomfortable moment. The truth comes out as the scene reveals the biggest reason for the gathering: the protagonist's involvement. Cross is surprised to learn that he is needed for a special request over an S-rank adventurer. As they rush to the site, Cross is left wondering what the details of the job are. Lyudmila, showing off her speed and power, jumps ahead, calling Cross to follow her. Cross is stunned as he watches the tremendous skill of his companions in action. Lyudmila casts an immensely powerful ice spell, freezing everything around them with her absolute zero magic. Cross and his companions approach a mysterious dungeon, uncertain of what awaits inside. As they approach, the dungeon reveals its intimidating entrance, drawing their attention to its dark depths. The team steps into the dungeon, realizing that it's no ordinary place but a special condition one. The group is met with a powerful barrier that even an S-rank adventurer like Salty can't pass. Lyudmila explains that the dungeon's entrance requires certain conditions to be met before they can proceed. Cross and his companions are stunned by the dungeon's challenge, requiring them to be under level 10. Lyudmila explains that monsters inside the dungeon are on par with advanced classes, adding danger. The goal is to retrieve a specific item beyond the dungeon boss, adding complexity to their mission. They discover that the dungeon's treasure is not just any mineral, but the demon god's legacy. Cross is surprised by Lyudmila's desire to collect the demon lord's treasures, despite her peaceful appearance. Lyudmila reveals that she had given up on retrieving the demon king's treasures but changed her mind after seeing Cross's skills. Cross wonders about the safety of retrieving the treasure, but Lyudmila reassures him with a generous offer. Cross is still doubtful about the dungeon's difficulty, considering even Salty, a demon king, gave up. Lyudmila hands Cross a top-tier item box, explaining its ability to store items in a separate space. Lyudmila provides Cross with emergency dungeon escape tools, including a crystal to monitor his condition. Cross is overwhelmed by the treasures, but Salty assures him it's all part of the plan. Lyudmila takes charge of strategy, preparing Cross for the dangerous dungeon ahead with confidence. They arrive at the dungeon entrance, a treacherous place requiring exceptional strength and strategy to conquer. Cross agrees with Lyudmila's plan, seeing it as a way to improve his vital skills. Determined, Cross steps forward, declaring he'll give it a try, ready to face the dungeon. Cross enters the glowing undersea dungeon, ready to face a trial unlike any before. Closing his eyes, Cross activates level 3 presence detection to scan for hidden enemies nearby. Evading detection, he slips past guards silently, navigating the narrow coral walls with agile precision. His mentor assigns a new strategy: avoid all combat, using stealth and thief-type dungeon skills. Though hesitant, Cross learns evasion boosts survival, suppresses magic use, and sharpens concealment under threat. Cross trains relentlessly. Detection must remain active, even in sleep, to sharpen reflexes and instincts. With growing confidence, Cross creeps forward, convinced he might reach the boss room unnoticed and unscathed. Silver wolves block the path. They're coordinated, lethal, and far above his current combat capability. Despite stealth, the wolves sense him. Tension builds as growls erupt and gazes lock onto him. Surrounded and panicking, Cross is attacked. His stealth failed, and the wolves charge without hesitation or mercy. Cross screams as he's overwhelmed. The wolves attack, triggering an emergency escape from the dungeon. He's pulled outside to safety by his mentor. Disoriented, shaken, and barely avoiding defeat, the mentors explain stealth's weaknesses: smell, sight, and mana leakage, all compromise presence concealment during danger. They show the wolves resting. Understanding behavior patterns may offer strategy beyond pure concealment tactics. Cross crouches, calculating. With seconds left before scent betrays him, he prepares for one last dash. Cross dashes forward with precision. Until the strike lands, his presence remains undetectable by enemies. Using perfect concealment, Cross surprises the wolves. They react too late as he charges in. Enhancing strength and swordplay mid-run, Cross overwhelms a wolf. Attacking with sudden speed and precision, he escapes deeper into the cave, pursued. The entire wolf pack chases with relentless fury. He hides again in a split corridor. The wolves spread out, searching the maze cautiously. Cross slays the last wolves in silence. Their bodies fall, victims of perfectly timed strikes. He recalls his master's strategy, using terrain and stealth to ambush enemies from narrow choke points. Exhausted and cautious, Cross finally reaches the ominous door marking the dungeon boss's chamber. He steps inside, wondering what kind of boss awaits, only to face an explosive surprise. Cross regains consciousness outside, dazed, staring upward as dragons soar overhead in the open sky. Cross awakens on the beach. His mentors praise his stealth and effort during the trial. He's shocked to learn he was knocked out instantly, without seeing the dungeon boss. The mentors encourage improvement. Facing unknown threats is part of training, and retreat is acceptable today. Day 2 begins. Fully recovered, Cross prepares without limitations, ready to face the boss properly. He finishes his pre-battle plan. This time he'll skip concealment and face the threat directly. Cross steps into a cavern filled with sharp, towering spires, sensing a looming challenge ahead. Suddenly, a swirling ball of energy appears before Cross, signaling an imminent threat approaching him. Realizing the danger, Cross recognizes the dungeon boss, recalling his previous attempt to reach this point. Despite the overwhelming presence surrounding him, Cross struggles to locate the boss, feeling the eerie atmosphere. Cross senses something and is startled, his attention caught by an unexpected movement or sound. Cross narrowly avoids the deadly attack, quickly evading rocks that come crashing toward him. He sees a massive, strange earthworm-like creature emerging from the shadows, its eye glaring menacingly. The creature breaks through Cross's stealth, forcing him to activate his enhanced physical abilities to escape. In a desperate attempt to escape, Cross runs but is pursued relentlessly by the creature. With one last burst of determination, Cross lands a powerful counterattack, defeating the creature. Cross struggles to fight multiple giant earthworm-like creatures with spikes, each one closing in on him. Realizing there are more than one, Cross realizes his stealth was broken and prepares to fight back. With no time to spare, he activates his physical enhancement and tries to dodge the attacks. Just narrowly escaping, Cross looks shocked and realizes the magnitude of the danger he faces. He makes his fourth attempt to clear the dungeon, knowing any mistake could cost him his life. Cross detects a hidden presence, realizing that the tentacles around him are not the dungeon boss. Cross, determined, unleashes his triple wind lance, launching an attack at the target's position. The whirlwind from his attack rips through the dungeon, creating destruction and chaos in its path. Cross finally uncovers the true dungeon boss as the giant entity bursts out from the debris. A massive underground creature erupts violently from the earth, smashing rocks and thrashing its thick tentacles. Cross stares in shock as the tentacled beast corners him deeper inside the cavern's lair. Faced with Lampadine, a high-level plant monster, Cross readies his sword inside the grotesque nest. Realizing the central eye is its weak spot, Cross prepares to fight against its defense swarm. Cross activates emergency skills presence detection and evasion bracing for a swift counterstrike from all sides. Cross unleashes speed-enhanced clones, distracting the tentacles as they break through the monster's defensive ring. Despite his agility, Cross struggles to dodge the relentless attacks and can't approach the main body. Choosing desperation over defense, Cross charges forward, risking injury just to reach the creature's vulnerable eye. Tentacles multiply and accelerate, battering Cross mid-air as he inches closer to the core's deadly gaze. Cross prepares his ultimate skill, aiming to blind the tentacles and break through the creature's defense. Cross executes triple intermediate cross counter, cleaving through incoming tentacles with precise synchronized blade strikes. He launches triple wind lance upward, channeling magic into a spiraling blast aimed at the monster. The wind assault strikes the main body, shattering defenses and ripping through the upper tentacle swarm. Cross celebrates the successful impact, confident the attack has turned the tide of the brutal fight. Though the eye remained intact, many tentacles were destroyed. Cross prepares to repeat the attack strategy. Severed tentacles suddenly reattach and regenerate, fusing with grotesque fluid to rebuild their entire structure. Cross panics as Lampadine regrows everything, revealing an unknown ability: extremely fast super regeneration. He observes the monster's healing and realizes it's absorbing dungeon magic directly to repair damage. Cross is overwhelmed by endless regeneration. Tentacles multiply and restrain him before he can retreat. He recognizes the monster's level was underestimated. This dungeon holds a forbidden legacy beyond his capacity. Lampadine's main eye narrows, reacting sharply to the sudden surge in Cross's aggressive magical pressure. Cross uses Speed Outburst, an intermediate dark magic skill, blasting forward while screaming his intent. He targets the tentacles directly, planning to weaken the whole body by severing magical connections. Dark magic intensifies around him. Cross prepares another attack, surrounded by converging tentacles from every direction. To his shock, Lampadine blocks the magic's transmission path, preventing damage to the core structure. Cross activates physical hardening but is overwhelmed mid-air, slammed back by the tentacle's crushing blow. Severely injured and out of strength, Cross contemplates using an escape item to restart the challenge. Memories of his mentors resurface, reminding him of his adaptability, stealth skills, and unpredictable fighting style. Inspired, Cross reactivates physical ability enhance, realizing there are still tactics the enemy hasn't countered. He launches another triple wind lance, channeling atmosphere and magic with sharper control and targeting precision. Cross ascends with magical aura flaring, invoking the Tyrant Dragon Spear for his strongest finishing attack. He breaks the seal on his magic stockpile, releasing stored energy with a defiant roar. Triple wind lance, enhanced by double pressure, explodes outward, creating a massive wind vortex around him. The spiraling attack finally penetrates defenses, landing a direct hit on Lampadine's central eye with force. Tentacles convulse violently as the core recoils, its eye damaged and body spiraling into collapse. Cross charges with a roar, aiming directly at Lampadine's core as it shrieks in agony. The monster writhes violently, unleashing a shockwave that shreds its surroundings in a final burst. Despite damage, Lampadine wraps itself in enchanted tentacles, forming an impenetrable magical cocoon against further strikes. Cross executes elegant leap, channeling wind magic to vault past its defenses toward the exposed eye. He spirals through the air, surrounded by wind tunnels, locking his trajectory toward the monster's center. Cross dodges swirling tentacles mid-air. Lampadine's eye locks on, sensing his rapid, unpredictable movement. The monster reactivates its limbs in panic, launching wild strikes and defensive pulses in desperation. Cross hides behind stone, using presence concealment and detection to navigate silently through the monster's blind spots. Lampadine's eye becomes fully exposed as it tightens its limbs inward, unaware of Cross approaching. Cross enhances swordplay and strength, diving in with a final strike that pierces the monster's core. As the tentacles fall limp, Cross lands atop the monster's massive, unmoving core body. Exhausted but victorious, Cross watches the defeated Lampadine dissolve, signaling the end of the battle. With the path forward now open, Cross turns toward the next chamber of the dungeon. Cross returns from his journey, feeling victorious as he walks back through the cave entrance. Cross demonstrates his newfound abilities, impressing everyone as he successfully transfers vitality and mana. The team celebrates Cross's success, acknowledging his progress and the improvement of his skill set. In a small room, the team discovers a hidden treasure chest, revealing a surprisingly small stash. Cross and the team uncover a massive treasure trove, revealing relics and weapons from the demon god. Cross receives praise for his success, but he hesitates about taking more powerful treasure. The group encourages Cross to take the best gear, knowing his capabilities will grow. Cross tests his new gear, summoning intense magic and a massive tornado of power. Cross reflects on the unexpected power of the new gear, realizing it's beyond his control. Cross decides to keep his current weapon, feeling a connection to it, and Giselle's choice. Cross finds an old tattered sword among the treasures, feeling no magic power emanating. Cross accidentally activates the sword, leading to a sudden surge of intense, uncontrollable power. Struggling with the powerful weapon, Cross can't control it, and his friends notice the chaos. The sword is revealed as the worthless sacred sword, a cursed weapon with mysterious properties. The team questions its purpose, and one suggests experimenting with the sword to see its power. The sword transforms into a gauntlet, confusing the wielder as it radiates powerful energy. The gauntlet transforms further, leading to an overwhelming surge of magic, leaving everyone in awe. A powerful skill is unleashed, Absolute Zero, freezing everything in its path as a display of strength. Cross and his companions activate their respective abilities, enhancing their fighting power and healing magic. The sword's magic is explained, showing how it adapts and repairs itself based on skills used. The sacred sword is questioned for being labeled worthless, despite its extraordinary powers and magic. The sword's transformation proves difficult to handle, as it changes forms unexpectedly, leaving Cross confused. Cross begins to understand the sword's deeper connection to him, seeing similarities in its past. With potential to adapt and grow, the sword is perfect for Cross, as he has unique abilities. Cross accepts the sword, realizing its unique power and his newfound responsibility. Feeling grateful for the gift, Cross, with a new weapon, talks to Giselle, who notices the changed hilt design. Giselle offers to train with Cross, hinting at a new fighting style she's learned recently. Cross announces a weekend training camp with his master to Giselle's surprise, focused on self-improvement. Giselle is frustrated, as Cross is prioritizing training over spending time with her. Her feelings hurt. Escalates with a heated argument between Giselle and a noble, leaving Cross caught in the middle. Cross and his companions rush to fulfill a request involving material gathering. Ready for action, the group discusses the mission, explaining that the special materials are a local specialty. They plan to buy the required item in the kingdom of Almeria. Journeying through vast landscapes, despite having advanced wind magic, they face challenges in purchasing the requested boundary crystal. Cross observes the town's lifeless atmosphere, noticing the eerie lack of energy among its people. Cross and his companions search for boundary crystals, only to learn they're stolen by bandits. The town is struggling with no shipments, and thieves are increasingly targeting the area. A monster stampede causes widespread chaos, affecting the kingdom's border army and severely impacting the town. Army's efforts to restore order are ongoing, but the town's economy is in a dire state. Amid rising tensions, a robbery occurs in the central district, adding to the already fragile situation. Cross shouts a warning as his group rushes through the streets, narrowly avoiding a dangerous situation. A thief gang member is charging at a frightened girl, but Cross is too far to help. The bucket the girl was holding is knocked over, spilling its contents everywhere as she gasps. Cross looks behind, surprised to see a powerful figure towering over the thieves, defeating them effortlessly. Mysterious woman steps forward, casually confronting the thieves, claiming to have a few questions for them. Cross urgently warns of danger, as a group of thieves run toward him and a girl.